Oh. Madam Deputy Clerk, we are reporting out of closed session. One item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the first item for council reporting out of closed session, CMS 026-007, proposed multi-use recreational facility. The motion is that the report be received and that confidential direction to staff be confirmed.
Good. Someone like to move that? Councillor Kim, second Councillor Thompson. And which questions? Once we get to the vote. Recorded vote?
A recorded vote has been requested for the first item reporting out of closed session. Councillor Gallo, how do you vote? Councillor Gallo votes yes. Councillor Gilliland, how do you vote?
Go ahead. Can you say that again?
Yes.
Councillor, the mic was on.
I declare a conflict of interest on this one, please.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner, how do you vote? Councillor Gardner votes yes. Mayor Mrakas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Mrakas votes yes. Councillor Thompson, how do you vote? Councillor Thompson votes yes. Councillor Kim, how do you vote? Councillor Kim votes yes. And Councillor Weiss, how do you vote? Councillor Weiss votes yes. The motion carries.
You confirming bylaw? Mr. Gallo, Councillor Gardner, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Gardner, Councillor Thompson, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Madam Deputy Clerk, time is 7:02. I'm going to call this committee of the whole meeting to order. Town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territories of the Chippewas of Regina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship that Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. Shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Council, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? And we'll need 2/3 for all the additional items. Councillor Kim, Councillor Thompson. Any comments or questions? All the additional items. Yeah. Delegations, motions, everything. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Community presentations, we have none. Delegations, we have a lot. 6.1, Jocelyn Wigley, Development Manager, and Skai Spooner, Head of Marketing, Jolt charge regarding item 14.3. And they are joining us by Zoom, I believe. Right?
Hello.
Welcome. Hi, you have 5 minutes and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen. Everybody can see that.
It hasn't come up yet. Up, yep.
Okay, fantastic. Let Skai start whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you, Jocelyn. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Skai Spooner. I'm the head of marketing for Jolt Charge Canada. I'm also a proud resident of Aurora, living on Mosley Street. And joining me tonight is Jocelyn Wigley, our development manager and proponent for the application on Yonge Street. While I don't normally participate in committee meetings, this one is very important to me because I believe that Aurora residents would truly benefit from having a Jolt charger in the neighborhood. I chose to work at Jolt because this model is really unique. We provide fast, free EV charging infrastructure and free charging to residents funded by advertising. We've already seen really strong momentum in nearby Richmond Hill, where a single charger averages about 7 sessions a day and has delivered over 75,000 kilometers of free energy to drivers over the past year. So I would really love to see Aurora benefit from the same opportunity. Jocelyn, if you could skip to slide 3, please. We all know that Canada's transition to EV is accelerating, but public infrastructure is not keeping pace. So as adoption continues to surge, expanding reliable, accessible charging networks is not just important, it's urgent. Slide 4. The Jolt model is supported through innovative cost offsets like premium advertising and clean energy integration with partners like Bullfrog Power that allow us to deliver sustainable charging at zero upfront investment. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jocelyn.
Thanks, Skai. Jolt is proposing to install at 14751 Yonge Street, utilizing currently underused space on the property. The approach ensures that we do not reduce the overall number of parking spots. This section of Yonge Street is a strong commercial corridor, home to major national retailers such as Staples, RBC, Shoppers Drug Mart, Popeyes, and Dollarama, making it an ideal appropriate location for the ancillary digital displays. Aurora's official plan strongly supports sustainable multimodal transportation and expanding EV charging directly aligns with that vision. Expanding the EV charging also advances the town's goals of reducing community emissions by 80% by 2050 and aligns with its EV charging station policy and energy conservation plan. The next few slides demonstrates how strongly the commercial area is, making it well suited for the proposed modest displays along Yonge Street. To the south of the premises, a large Shoppers Drug Mart, commercial in nature. To the west, a large plaza containing a big box store, such as Staples, No Frills, and Dollarama. And to the north is another plaza containing an RBC, Popeyes, and a Life Labs. Jolt's design is sleek and modern, intended to integrate seamlessly with the property. It aligns with the recently renovated building and complements the existing aesthetic rather than detracting from it. This portion of Yonge Street is clearly commercial in both its function and zoning, and this proposal fits naturally within the established context. The addition of EV infrastructure along with the third-party signage enhances the commercial nature of the corridor without changing its character. Its modest size maintains the visual integrity of the corridor without creating any negative impact. This is appropriate for this town. This is not a small, locally scaled main street intended to preserve small town character. Rather, this section includes large format and national retailers and operates at a broader commercial scale. In that context, modest third-party advertising is entirely consistent with the surrounding environment. It complements the existing commercial character rather than detracting from it and fits within the established visual and functional pattern of the area. The proposed will not negatively impact adjacent properties or the public. Light reach is minimal and at its longest arms is 50 meters. And it does not extend into any sensitive land uses. There's no animation or movement on the screens, which limits distraction, and the displays are modest in scale. They won't dominate the skyline or the streetscape. The proposed will not impact safety, traffic, operations, or accessibility. It's located in a dead space on the property, and it won't interfere with vehicular circulation or site access. The proposed is the same make and model as York Regional Transit Shelters and shown in this slide, operating with no concerns. The unit is compact, features automatic nighttime dimming, and uses static displays with no video and animation, as I mentioned. And beyond convenient, it supports EV adoption and Aurora's sustainability goals. The digital screens also serve as a wayfinding function, helping EV drivers easily locate available charging when they need it.
Jocelyn, can I just get you to wrap up because you just passed your 5 minutes?
Last slide. Perfect timing. In conclusion, the proposal delivers meaningful public benefit. It provides EV users with up to 50 kilometers at no cost in about 20 minutes. And at no cost, it's funded through third-party advertising. It helps close a critical gap in Aurora's level 3 EV charging infrastructure and reduces that range anxiety and makes EV ownership more practical. It also supports local businesses by attracting EV drivers to the area. All advertising will comply with Canadian Code of Advertising standards, and the chargers operate at 100% renewable energy, reinforcing Aurora's sustainability goals. This is a practical, responsible, and forward-looking initiative that supports the community environmentally and economically. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor, motion to receive and refer. Councillor Gardner, Councillor Weiss, any questions for the delegate? Seeing none, ladies, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 6.2. Mr. Javed Khan, President Chair, Aurora Sports Hall of Fame, regarding Aurora Sports Hall of Fame audit update. Mr. Khan, welcome. You have 5 minutes and the floor is yours. I'm just going to say, guys, I'm going to hold everyone strictly to 5 because we do have a tight schedule. So go ahead, Mr. Khan.
Sounds good. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me, the members of council and residents of Aurora watching here and online. On November 10th, 2025, I stood before this council along with our volunteer treasurer, Brian Roberts, to present the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame's annual budget request. I'll remind the council that our request was very straightforward. It has not changed. There was no percentage increase. Our asks remain exactly the same as the previous year at a rate of $32,360, the identical amount requested for 2025. Council requested that our funding be paused and a full audit be conducted on the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame's financial transactions. I would like to briefly report back to council on the steps that were taken since the audit request. Before I continue, I would like to extend a sincere thank you to Brian Roberts and to Dan McGowan, both are chartered professional accountants, and Brian is a licensed public accountant. They volunteered a considerable amount of additional time and professional expertise to secure quotes and explore the implications of undertaking a full financial audit. We successfully connected with 3 professional accounting firms who were willing to provide quotes: Bateman, Graham and Fitzpatrick CPAs, Shigaris Bonham CPAs, Isaac CPA Professional Corporation. The estimated annual cost for a full audit range from approximately $6,000 to $14,000. The first year of an audit is often the most expensive due to the additional time required to establish audit procedures. Costs frequently increase in subsequent years. It is important to remind everyone that once an organization moves to an audit standard, one doesn't necessarily revert back to a lower standard in subsequent years. The audit then becomes a permanent annual requirement, creating a long-term financial obligation that can significantly impact a volunteer-based organization like ours. In our case, up to 40% of our Aurora Town grant will be spent on our audit. After carefully reviewing the quotes and discussing the broader implications, the Board of Governors voted not to proceed with an audit of our financial statements. The reason is simple. It is not in the best interest of the organization, and it is not a fiscally responsible direction given our size, our resources, and the existing policies that guide municipal funding. Most notably, the Town of Aurora policy is clear. Audits are required for organizations with revenue budgets exceeding $250,000. The Aurora Sports Hall of Fame receives nowhere near that amount. We have fully complied with every reporting requirement asked of us by the town. If the goal is transparency and financial accountability, which we fully support, there is already a clear and responsible process available to council. And if a council decides that a new standard should exist, then apply that standard fairly and consistently to all organizations, large or small. That is how responsible governance works. The Aurora Sports Hall of Fame is a volunteer-driven, nationally recognized institution. We celebrate the athletes, builders, coaches, and community leaders who have shaped the sporting culture of our town. We preserve the history of Aurora's achievements, and we help educate future generations about pride, discipline, and teamwork that sport brings to a community. We help strengthen Aurora's identity as the town of champions, and we do this work through volunteers who dedicate hundreds and hundreds of hours and who care deeply about this community. We look forward to continuing that work together with this council and with the residents of this town. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Someone like to move receipt of the delegation? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kim, any questions for the delegate? Councillor Weiss.
Thanks, and thanks, Mr. Khan. I appreciate the update and taking this seriously. When I saw your delegation, I wanted to review some of the relevant information to this, and according to your community partnership agreement, you're to publicly post a number of things on your website. And I wanted to take a look at the financial statements that you should have there for 3 years. I wanted to see the agenda and the minutes. I couldn't find them. So maybe it's me looking through there, but I don't think they're there because I looked at your governance section and all the rest of it. So I really would like to ensure that these are posted in for public reference purposes, if you don't mind. So if you just take that back to whoever does your website, I think it would be appreciative for the public and for us.
Mr. Khan.
Plan for the next week or so, and so I appreciate the comment.
Thank you. Councillor.
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions for the delegate? Councillor Garner.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Here you are again. My comment was about the agendas and the minutes. Will they be going back in time?
We will post them at least a good year, 2 years back, and we'll have that done well before the end of this month.
Thank
Councillor.
you. As far back as you can, please.
Any other questions for the delegate? Mr. Khan, thank you for coming this evening. We appreciate it. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 6.3, Shawn Deane, resident, regarding items 7.1, 13.2, 14.1, 14.2, 16.1, 16.2. Mr. Deane, welcome. You have 5 minutes. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. Tonight, I would like to ask a few questions in order that I can inform my Budget Voice Aurora community group with accurate information and in order that we can align our advocacy with like-minded councillors. Councillor Gardner, you are the chair of the Heritage Advisory Committee, as well as the Accessibility Committee. You've asked within your meeting minutes why the matter of Victoria Hall had not been first considered by the Heritage Advisory Committee. Staff provided a response, noting that the committee would become involved through the heritage permit process. The committee expressed its concerns and preference for the potential use of Victoria Hall. Can you help me understand the standard permit process and if engagement is supposed to happen before or after staff approves new building design concepts? Because the mayor stated during his State of the Town address that Heritage Committee will always be engaged with any new heritage permit. Was the normal process followed? And if not, why? And in light of the new budget information, which reveals that the accessibility ramp was being tracked in the budget since 2017, can you add some context as to why this ramp was never installed and how the committee works with the staff to ensure that the town's asset management plan is followed? Home energy retrofit audits. I spoke with Natalie last year and shared my objection to this program because the town does not have the financial or human resources or expertise to compete with banks. I have the following concerns. The initiative was not driven by the people, but instead by the province and Enbridge, and they have always been running a Save on Energy program for years. Therefore, all of the benefits have already been communicated throughout the province, and it is cheaper for the town to simply share these established communications with the people of Aurora and not spend money to rebrand them. This program is simply another example of an ever-growing list by the provincial government to push their budget expenses onto municipalities and ultimately the taxpayer. We must say no to that. The small climate benefits is not worth the time and expense, in my opinion, of continuing, knowing that if the town actually meets its provincial housing targets in building 8,000 new homes, all using natural gas by 2031, that this will undermine the efforts of converting only 2,300 of our poorest households to heat pumps. Furthermore, the federal government and provincial government have changed course in climate goals, and now they are less committed to reducing greenhouse gases and producing electric cars, and instead they are focusing on building data centers, pipelines, mining our core minerals, which are not environmentally friendly objectives. This program does not lower the cost of heat pumps. Is the town prepared to offer a lower interest rate than a bank or accept greater risk than a bank? I certainly hope not. What is the benefit to a higher income homeowner who doesn't need to participate in this program? Once the town offers financing to one group of residents, then it is only fair to open up financing to all others for any product or service of their choosing. Mr. Mayor, I already made some of these points recently when I delegated to express my opposition to any attempts to turn the town into a bank in regards to Councillor Gallo's motion to offer new home owners the option to finance their specific property development charges as an alternative to having current residents pay for them like we're doing now. And you firmly stated that you spoke with the treasurer, and since this idea did not change the cost of a new home, you did not support the motion, and that you would not waste the staff's time to investigate this option any further. So, Mr. Mayor, in your opinion, how is approving the financing of a heat pump any different than approving development charge financing? This leads me into the matter of development charge, the draft legislation being submitted tonight by York Region and being considered. York Region Treasurer stated last month that development charges no longer cover all of the growth expenses like they did in the past, and that future revenue shortfalls will now fall upon the taxpayer for the next 10 years, prompting many mayors to speak out against this new draft legislation. They now intend to push back to the province on having the 1.2 billion for the new Yonge subway station at York Region to use these funds to cover the development charge shortfalls. She stated growth does not pay for growth. So, Mr. Mayor, can you tell me where you stand on this new draft legislation? I know recently you told me in an email to look online without providing the link or to ask Councillor Gallo. I have not yet been able to find the answer, and I have not yet heard back from Councillor Gallo. So without complicating matters further, and with all due respect, can you please tell me just your position tonight? I would truly appreciate it. Additionally, if you can also state what benefits the people of Aurora receive in paying for a subway station in another municipality, as well as the benefits we will receive if York Region moves forward with tonight's submission of hiring new staff and paying board members to pool insurance. This one more sentence for 7 other communities, but not Aurora. So after 55 years, York Region now wants to create a benefit of pooling resources when the province can do this like they do with auto insurance. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to receive and refer? Ms. Thompson, Councillor Gallo, any questions? Councillor Garner?
Hello again, Mr. Deane. We have a presentation from our consultant that may answer most of your questions about the hope that we can help some of our homes, especially the older ones, become more energy efficient. The other one that was directed to me, and I don't know what the standard permit process is, so I can get back to you on that. But I do know about the ramp to Victoria Hall. I voted against it because it didn't make sense to me that we would have an accessible ramp to really an inaccessible building. For example, the washroom facilities. And I don't remember how council voted. I can only remember how I voted on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions to the delegate? Seeing none. Mr. Deane, I will make some comments as far as the DCs. Like I mentioned to you, it's quite readily available. Been pretty public about the fact that the DCs here at the town of Aurora are the second lowest in the entire region, and at no time do I believe that our DC should be lowered. I've also advocated on behalf of 250 municipalities to the province to look at redistributing fees from taxes, land transfer tax, as well as the HST on the federal level. So that way predictable funding can be provided to municipalities so that the burden doesn't fall into taxpayers. That has been quite evident and quite clear, and I've made that very public about that. As far as the issues with the Yonge subway, everything, I've been on record many times about the fact that the region needs to have restructuring. And so I stand by that comment. There needs to be restructuring, major restructuring, and I'm hoping the province, as they've done in other areas and are looking at other areas, that they restructure the way regional government is dealing with any issue moving forward. I would like to see the removal of regional councillors, a more streamlined, efficient process, and move into a utility type of structure with boards for the certain issues that are intertwined that we cannot unravel easily without extra costs and burdens on the taxpayer. So that's where I stand on those issues. But thank you for coming this evening, and I will call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 6.4, Mr. Hartman, resident regarding item 15.6. Mr. Hartman, welcome. You have 5 minutes. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff, and attendees. I'm grateful for this time this evening. I'm here tonight to seek clarification on agenda item member motion 15.6, as noted, review and release of certain closed session materials. Specifically, I'd like clarification and better understanding of the words noted on page 1 of said motion, whereas transparency and public trust are fundamental principles of good governance. I'm seriously confused by this statement, and I think I'm a pretty common sense individual. If this council truly and really believes that sentence of the mayor's motion to be true, then I strongly urge each member of this council to go back and listen via YouTube to your own words noted during the council meeting of February 24, 2026, and specifically the time period between the minutes of 30 and 1 hour and 52 minutes. You will hear words and phrases such as lack of transparency, trust and verify, accountable to the public, not allowed to share, serious questions, time and time again, flawed process, why don't we have the time, lack of information. And so when a member motion contains the statement, transparency and public trust are fundamental to principles of good governance, also in Councillor Gilliland's motion 15.3, then in my opinion, some have failed that value and can be considered even hypocritical. I'm certain all of you have seen and felt the pushback from multiple sources in the town relating to the recent decision on Victoria Hall and the cost estimates. By the way, the time clock says it all. In last week's or 2 weeks ago, you discussed Victoria Hall for approximately 1 hour and 22 minutes. Maybe a weird reference to the satirical news show, This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thanks, Mr. Hartman. Can I get a motion to receive and refer? Councillor Gardner, Councillor Thompson, any questions for the delegate? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Hartman, for coming this evening. Call vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 6.5, Nikki Alber, resident regarding item 15.4. Nikki, welcome. You have 5 minutes and the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikki Alber. I'm a resident of Aurora, and I'm fortunate enough to work closely with many families in the community as the owner of an educational services company. I'm also a co-founder of a nonprofit organization called Jewish Families Connected. Tonight, I'm here to speak in support of Councillor Gallo and Mayor Mrakas's motions to call for coordination and funding for us to fight against anti-Semitism in our community. To me, Aurora has always been a welcoming and inclusive place to live, but recently, especially since October 7th, 2023, there has been a very real and very scary rise in anti-Semitism in Canada, in the GTA, and right here in Aurora. It's hard to believe that there have been many synagogues and Jewish schools that have been shot at here in York Region. Police data continues to show that there is a majority of reported hate crimes are anti-Semitic incidences. These are just not things that we expect to see in Canada. But let me make it a bit more real for you by bringing it even closer to home. Just 10 minutes away from where we are right now in Newmarket, a children's program at the Newmarket Public Library was the target of intense online harassment and threats. This is a program designed for kids to socialize, make friends, learn language, learn culture. Imagine as a parent having to weigh the risk of sending your child to have a play date at the library and worrying about their safety. Right now at the dinner table, your neighbors are having to ask things like, is it safe to send my kids to the library for that program? Should I sign them up for summer camp this summer? Is it safe to wear my Star of David to the grocery store tomorrow? Or should I take down that mezuzah on my front door before my delivery arrives tomorrow? These are something that no Canadians should need to ask. My great-grandparents, like many Jewish families, experienced the horrors of the Holocaust, and my grandparents were raised in the aftermath of that trauma, and they carried the scars with them their entire lives. They were afraid to tell people they were Jewish, not because they were ashamed, but because they were protecting their families. They came to Canada with nothing, and they worked incredibly hard to build big families, to build businesses, to contribute to our community. There was a phrase that they said that we now all know so well, which is never again. And this held a very clear meaning for them because they know exactly what again looks like. My parents were a lot more fortunate. They grew up in a Canada where they weren't afraid to have a mezuzah on their door. They weren't afraid to wear a Star of David to the grocery store. They said never again because their parents said it to them over and over, and they thought it would never happen again. Not only that, they thought the idea that it could happen in Canada in today's society was crazy. And now I stand here today and I say never again, not as a history lesson, but as a warning. Hatred towards Jews is on the rise here in Aurora. I say never again as a reminder to myself and to my community that if we do not fight back now, my son is going to have to grow up in a Canada where it's not safe to be Jewish. And I don't accept that, and neither should any of you. So I'm here tonight to ask you all for help to make sure that when my son gets older, he says never again, just like my parents did, as a funny history lesson that was never a reality for him. Motions like these matter. And by supporting these motions tonight, Aurora is sending a very clear message, not just to Jewish residents, but to all vulnerable communities, that hate has no place in Aurora. You're sending a message that if anyone in this community is under attack, Aurora is going to stand up and protect them. That's the Aurora that I want to live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, can I get a motion to receive and refer? Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gallo. Questions? Councillor Gilliland, go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having the bravery to come up here and speak on behalf of your community. Just knowing and understanding how unrest your community feels right now really does rock me to the core. And I know this is something that we have talked about a couple of years ago as well, with the incidences that had happened with the protests and violence then. Hence why I had also wrote that motion about the insightful speech and the violence that was being present in our community. And I still challenge these upper level governments to use their tools in order to strengthen the criminal code to not allow these things to happen. And I did see those posts, by the way, which were absolutely disgusting, which has no place in our communities here. And I completely support both motions that are on the floor today. And I think it does send a strong message that we will not tolerate this type of violence or hate in our community. So thank you so much for coming up here with today and speaking on behalf of your community.
Thank you. Councillor Weiss?
I hear what Councillor Gilliland has said, but I also want to point out and thank you for the presentation, because what it does is it really reminds us that what we're here for is to understand the human sides of everything that we do here. And your passionate discussion here today, although it was brave, it shouldn't need to be brave, because it should be something that's very easy to do. So I want to thank you for coming in here, and I do support both of these motions tonight.
Councillor Gardner?
Thank you so much for coming, for being a proud Jewish Canadian, for not being afraid to wear your star. And there are people who are afraid. There are people who are not wearing any symbol of being Jewish because they are afraid. And I think it's a fear that's, we don't know what's possible with what's happened, but it's a genuine fear, I would say. And as Councillor Weiss said, we always need to know the human side of what's happening and the needs of our residents and what they think about what we are doing on council. And I would always support any motion of council that increases the safety of any citizens of Aurora. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none. Nikki, thank you very much for coming out this evening. Call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 6.6, Nadia, Ismail, and co-delegates William, Nathan, and Debra regarding item 10.1. Welcome, Nadia. You have 5 minutes and the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor, councillors, and town staff. My name is Nada, and this is the third time I'm standing before you to speak on behalf of the tenants of 1418 Wellington Street East. Each time I have come here, it has been because our community is facing uncertainty, fear, and the possibility of losing our homes. Tonight is no different, but the stakes feel even higher. I also want to thank Councillor Ron Reese for continuing to bring our concerns forward and for taking the time to listen to us. I have lived at 14 Wellington for more than 20 years. For many of us, these buildings are not just rental units. They are our homes, our community, and our stability. We have raised families here, cared for aging parents here, and built our lives around this neighborhood. The uncertainty surrounding redevelopment has created enormous anxiety. We do not know when eviction notices may come and what the timelines will be, or whether we will have any ability to remain in Aurora once this process begins. In my situation, the redevelopment plans that I have seen suggest that my unit will fall under partial or full demolition, not renovation. That means my home of 20 years will be permanently eliminated, and I would have no right to return and no realistic path to remain in Aurora. At today's rental prices, there is nothing even close to what I pay now. After 2 decades in the same home, I am facing the very real possibility of being forced out of the town I love. We reviewed the staff report tonight for you this evening, and we understand the concerns raised about administrative costs and the possibility of future provincial changes. But for tenants like us, waiting for the province is not an option. We are living the consequences of inaction right now. Without a renoviction bylaw, landlords can classify major renovation as demolition, and tenants lose every right to return. This loophole leaves us completely unprotected. Under the Residency Tenancies Act, the distinction is critical. If a landlord claims renoviction, tenants have the right to return at the same rent. If a landlord claims demolition or conversion, tenants lose that right entirely. Based on what we have been told and what we have observed, many of us fear that our building will be classified as demolition. That would mean long-standing parents, seniors, single parents, people on fixed incomes, and working families will have nowhere in Aurora they can afford to go. We have not been served N13 notices yet, but we see the direction that things are heading. We have seen what has happened in neighboring buildings, and we know how vulnerable we are without stronger protections. For many of us, displacement does not mean moving across town. It means leaving Aurora entirely. It means losing our support networks, our doctors, our schools, and our community. For some, it means facing housing instability and homelessness. These are not abstract fears. These are the real outcome that we are already seeing in this town. As our respected mayor and councillors, I ask you honestly, is this the reputation you want for Aurora? A town where long-standing terms residents who have contributed to this community for decades are pushed out because there are no protections in place. Aurora has always been a community that values its residents. A renoviction bylaw would stop that development, and it would ensure that redevelopment does not come at a cost of pushing out the very people who built this community. It would give tenants a fair chance to stay in their homes and protect the diversity and stability of our neighborhoods. I'm asking you for the third time to hear us, to see us, and to act. Please adopt a renoviction bylaw that protects Aurora's residents from displacement disguised as demolition. We want nothing more than to remain in this town we love, and we continue contributing to the community we call home. Thank you.
Thank you. A motion to receive and refer. Councillor.
You get to come forward.
Sure, the council so wishes. Seconder, Councillor Gallo, all those in favor? Opposed, that carries. You got an extra minute. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening to Aurora Town Council. My name is William Billis, and I have been a resident of 14 Wellington Street East for a lot of years. I am a senior stroke survivor, and I live on a fixed income. The building is under renovations under disguise of demolition. I have nowhere else, nowhere in Aurora that I can afford at my age and at my health wise. The stress of situation is overwhelming, and I'm generally afraid of what will happen to me if I lose my home where I am. I want to say this clearly. I hope the media is here to hear it without stronger protection. Seniors like me are pushed into homelessness, and I want the record to be stressed that living day to day is not what I hold for future. Is taking a senior's toll on my health. I do not know how much more I can take. I urge this council to create a renoviction bylaw to protect tenants who are being displaced through the fault of the landlord. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Thank you. Council, motion to, we're already done in a minute. We're gonna have. I gotta get another motion. Is that the last minute? Okay, Councillor Gardner, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. You have 1 more minute.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. My name is Nate. I lived at 14 Wellington Street East for many years. Aurora is not just where I rent. It's where I work. It's where my children go to school. This town is our home. It's the community that shaped my kids, the place that they made their friends, and where we build our lives. We have not been served an N13 notice yet, but we see the direction things are heading, and we know how vulnerable we are without stronger protections. If our building is classified as demolition, my family will have no right to return. And with today's rental prices, we simply cannot afford to stay in Aurora. For us, a renoviction wouldn't just mean finding a new place to live. It would mean being forced out of the town we love. It would mean pulling my children away from their school, their teachers, and friends they've grown up with. It would mean losing the stability and the support networks that my family needs. I worry every day about how I would explain to my kids we have to leave the community the only community that we've known. We've seen what happens when older buildings are replaced with new ones. At 32 Wellington Street East, that's down the street, our landlord purchased the property, demolished the heritage home that stood there, and built a new rental building where the tenants rent far beyond what long-term tenants like us could even afford. That is the pattern we fear we will be repeated on our street. We are not numbers on a planning report. We are families. We are workers. We are parents trying to give our children stability and future. All we're asking for is a fair chance to stay in our homes and in our community. Please help protect the residents who helped build Aurora. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, motion to receive and refer. Councillor Weiss, seconder. Councillor Kim, any questions? Councillor Gardner, go ahead.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's not a question. I thank you all for coming. It's a tragic situation you find yourselves in, and as you said, this is your home. So I don't know what we can do to help you. We will try. Thank you for coming.
Councillor Weiss?
Just a question, just for clarity here. Nada, have you received any information from your landlord about the impending development that's happening there?
Nada?
Through you, sir. Here.
As of right now, to this very day, I have received zero communication from my landlord or the property team. Nobody has called me, nobody has messaged me, and they have not messaged any of the tenants that are affected.
Have you received a lawyer letter through you, Mayor?
Nada?
A lawyer letter that I have forwarded, and it states that my unit will be entirely renovated into non-existence.
Thank you.
Council?
Last question, I guess, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but can you tell me the extent of the impending work that's being done at 14 and 18 in terms of number of units and number of people that are being affected through this?
Nada?
My unit is 14. I believe all the tenants are affected in my unit, 14 Wellington Street. There's 6 of them that live on my floor. We're all affected with their families. And along with 18, I believe the top floor is going to be affected. And I don't know how many families live in that, but they are people living there. And we have signed petitions from all of them.
Okay,
Councillor?
thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming out this evening. Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 6.7, Richard Robertson, Director, Research and Advocacy, regarding item 15.4. Richard, welcome. And 15.9, I believe, right? Yeah.
Mayor, my name is Richard Robertson. I'm B'nai Brith Canada's Director of Research and Advocacy. B'nai Brith is the country's oldest human rights organization. Our organization, which was established in 1875, is dedicated to eradicating racism, anti-Semitism, and hatred in all of its forms and championing the rights of the marginalized. I'm here today to address items number 15.4 and 15.9 on the agenda. The motion regarding the establishment of a joint task force and funding support to combat anti-Semitic hate and violence, and the motion regarding protecting vulnerable social infrastructure in the town of Aurora. B'nai Brith Canada supports the adoption of both motions in their entirety. We would like to thank Councillor Gallo and Mayor Mrakas for bringing these motions forward and for standing in solidarity with the Jewish community. Canada's Jewish community is under attack, suffering through a national crisis of anti-Semitism. Since 2022, anti-Semitic incidents have increased by over 124%. In 2024, there were almost 1,800 incidents of anti-Semitism recorded in Ontario alone. Nationally, there were 6,219 incidents of anti-Semitism recorded in 2024, amounting to an average of 17 incidents a day across the country. Although figures are not yet available for 2025, the situation facing Canadian Jewry has only continued to devolve. Synagogues, community infrastructure, and Jewish-owned businesses in Canada, including in York Region, have been the targets of gunfire, arsons, bomb threats, and caustic protests. Jewish Canadians, including residents of Aurora, have been threatened with and been the victims of violence, intimidation, harassment, and hate. 15.7% of the incidents recorded in the Anti-Semitism in Ontario's K-12 schools report, which was published in 2025, occurred in York Region District School Board schools. As a national issue that manifests locally, anti-Semitism requires a coordinated government response at all levels. The motion before Council is commendable as for its recognition that there is an urgent need for the development of a combined approach that incorporates federal, provincial, regional, and municipal resources, and for its appreciation of the requirement that law enforcement be furnished with additional funding to confront the anti-Semitism that is plaguing our society. B'nai Brith Canada has itself called on the Government of Canada to create a federal, provincial, municipal task force in support of the City of Toronto in December of 2025, when Toronto City Council passed a motion calling for the development of such. Similarly, we have advocated for the allocation of additional funding and resources to law enforcement. The increase in protests and hate incidents since October 7th, 2023 have put a tremendous strain on the resources of municipal and regional police forces across the country. Here in York Region, the York Region Police were forced to request that their largest ever budget increase, an increase of 12.7%, that would bring the budget to 500 million be exercised, partly to fund more officers to handle the complex community safety issues that become normalized over the last several years. As enhanced operational requirements continue to exist across the country, there's a pressing need for additional support from federal and provincial governments to ensure that law enforcement agencies across Canada can continue to accommodate the increase in their obligations. Multiple municipalities in Canada have passed vulnerable infrastructure bylaws. If adopted by the town of Aurora, Aurora would be following the lead of the City of Toronto, City of Calgary, City of Vaughan, City of Brampton, and Town of Oakville, all of which have passed vulnerable infrastructure legislation. By passing the motion before Council tonight, the Town of Aurora will be joining the City of Ottawa, which is presently contemplating its own vulnerable infrastructure legislation. I would like to take a moment to clarify for you what vulnerable infrastructure legislation does not do. It does not prevent individuals from protesting, congregating, or expressing themselves within the buffer zone. It does not prima facie infringe on human or charter rights. It does not create protest-free zones. It only prevents conduct that meets the prescribed definition of nuisance protest or nuisance demonstration from occurring within the defined geographic parameters outlined in a bylaw. It would not prevent an anti-Israel protest or any other protest from occurring anywhere in the city, provided the protest did not devolve into a nuisance demonstration. Any other implied consequence amounts to an inaccurate hysteria. Vulnerable infrastructure legislation would equally protect all vulnerable infrastructure within the municipality. Thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Richard. Council, can I get a motion to receive and refer? Councillor Gardner, seconder. Councillor Thompson. Councillor Gardner, you got a question?
Thank you very much for coming and for the work you do. Could you just, you've said it twice, but so what you're trying to clarify is that this task force would only be looking at hate speech and hate gatherings and acts of hate, would not in any way prevent anybody from gathering to express their views on a certain matter as long as it was not hate speech.
That comment was specifically relating to vulnerable infrastructure legislation. Vulnerable infrastructure legislation is very specific legislation that creates a geographic area around infrastructure. And within that area, the only thing that is prevented is nuisance protests or nuisance demonstrations as are prescribed in the legislation. Any other form of protest is allowed to occur within that geographic confine. And most legislations we've seen throughout the country that qualifies as vulnerable infrastructure legislation defines nuisance protest or nuisance demonstration as a protest or demonstration that intimidates or obstructs an individual from entering the vulnerable infrastructure legislation. That's really what vulnerable infrastructure legislation is targeting.
Councillor?
Thank you, through Mr. Mayor. So this would be perhaps schools, places of worship, hospital areas. Is there anything you can add to that list?
Different jurisdictions across the country have taken different approaches. Generally, we see it covering houses of worship. In some jurisdictions, we see it covering university campuses or schools, but primarily it's infrastructure that is seen as most vulnerable and is most likely to be targeted by protests or demonstrations. The needs in Aurora might be distinct from the needs in other jurisdictions, but certainly community infrastructure related to vulnerable communities would be well within the spirit of what we've seen erected across the country.
Councillor?
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Richard, thank you very much for coming out this evening. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 6.8, Jennifer Brooks, resident, regarding item 15.4. Jennifer, welcome. You have 5 minutes and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jennifer Brooks. I'm a mom of 4 who has been living, working, and raising my children in the Aurora area for the last 15 years. I'm part of the large Jewish community that calls this region home. York Region has the 3rd largest Jewish community in Canada, and Aurora itself is home to thousands of Jewish residents and families. I'm here tonight alongside many others from our community to express our sincere gratitude to Councillor John Gallo for bringing forward the motion to establish an anti-Semitism task force. We also want to recognize and thank the mayor for introducing the motion to protect vulnerable social infrastructure and places of worship. These actions matter because our community has a lot to be worried about. Jewish families are seeing things we've never imagined we would see in our own communities. Libraries are being harassed for hosting Hebrew story time. Jewish teens are being targeted and harassed. Community programs are facing intimidation simply because they're Jewish. In York Region, particularly in Jewish neighborhoods, synagogues and businesses have already been targeted. These are not abstract places. They are well-known buildings and communities where families live, pray, and gather. Here in Aurora and across the N6 communities, Jewish programming often takes place in shared public spaces, like libraries and community centers. And these are places where families, all families, should feel welcome. When anti-Semitism becomes rationalized, it becomes dangerous for everyone. When it becomes acceptable to harass Jews and teenagers just because they're Jewish, as long as they're called Zionists, or when people try and cancel something as simple as Hebrew story time at a library, that is not activism, it is intimidation. We need to see our elected officials align words with action, so thank you for recognizing that we are past the point of statements. We need real enforcement and real leadership, and it takes chutzpah to stand up and turn words into action, so thank you. And I hope other N6 municipalities will follow Aurora's leadership, because in the end, this is about community safety and keeping all of our children safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to receive and refer? Councillor Gallo, Councillor Kim, any questions? Councillor Gardner.
Thank you for coming. I hadn't considered what you said about shared Jewish programming takes place in shared public spaces.
These northern municipalities, we don't have a lot of brick and mortar synagogues, right? So we're running programming through community centers, the Aurora Cultural Center, libraries. So it's an issue for everybody, not just for Jewish businesses.
Councillor.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you. Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to you as well for coming up and having the bravery to speak about what you are going through in your community. And I know other communities have other angst as well. I don't want to exclude that, but right now we're seeing a lot of pressure and stress in the Jewish community in general, in Aurora, York Region, Ontario, all over the world. And this is Canada, and we should not at all ever feel unsafe in our own community and going to a library or the grocery store and being called names. And I know I've stood beside the Jewish community in support, and I have been called names just for supporting peace amongst the Jewish community in Aurora. And it's really unfathomable. I'm supportive of, again, these motions, and I really hope that this sends a message to speak loud and clear. And we need to continue to have your community and all the other communities to stand up, because if it doesn't stop here, it's going to spread to other communities, and we need to stop it in its tracks and send a message. So thank you so much.
Any other questions for the delegate? Seeing none, Jennifer, thank you very much for coming out this evening. Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. I will be moving things up, Council, so let's just get through some of the quick ones. Advisory Committee meeting minutes. Someone want to move that? Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gilliland. Is there any comments, questions on that? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay. I need items that you want pulled. The rest of the agenda. And if someone can pull, please pull mine, 15.9, I would really appreciate it. Councillor Gallant.
Thank you. I'll definitely be pulling your motion as well as Councillor Gallo. I would like to move it up because there are people in the audience that.
I will do that, but I'll let Councillor Gallo. pull it.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you say that. We're making this political now. Okay.
I just need someone because I'm chairing. Okay.
I'd like to pull 15.2 and 15.3, 9.1, 13.1, and 13.2.
Okay. Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. 15.4, 15.5, 15.7, and 15.8.
Thank you.
And I suspect yours is pulled.
Yeah, Councillor Gallant just pulled it. Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Thompson?
I'll pull 15.1 and I'll pull 14.2.
So which one? 14.2.
Servicing update.
Thank you. Councillor Garner.
Could you tell me what's not been pulled?
10.1, 11.1, 14.1, 14.3, 14.4, and 16.1 and 16.2, and 15.6.
I'll pull them all, thanks.
You're going to pull them all.
Thank you.
You have something to say to every single item?
Possibly.
Okay.
You didn't want 10.1, huh? You didn't want 10.1. Okay, I pulled it.
So if there's no objections, I'm going to move 15.4 and 15.9 first. Everything's been pulled. So I'm glad someone's going to be speaking to it. 15.4. Councillor Gallo, do you want to move that? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Reese. Go ahead, Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. I'm bringing forward this motion today because municipalities across Canada, including here in York Region, are seeing a deeply troubling rise in anti-Semitic incidents and hate-motivated actions. These incidents are not abstract statistics. They impact real people in our community, families, students, and residents who deserve to feel safe practicing their faith, attending community events, and simply living their lives without fear. Aurora has always prided itself on being a welcoming and inclusive community. We are a town where people of many faiths, cultures, and backgrounds live together and contribute to the strength of our community. Protecting that environment is not just a moral responsibility, it is a public safety responsibility. While policing is not a municipal responsibility alone, municipalities are often the first level of government that communities raise concerns about safety and rising incidents of hate. This motion recognizes that combating hate-motivated violence requires coordination between all levels of government. Specifically, the motion asks the Government of Canada and the Province of Ontario to work with York Region and municipalities like Aurora to establish a coordinated task force involving agencies such as the RCMP, CSIS, and Ontario Provincial Police and York Region Police. The purpose of this coordination is simple: to ensure that intelligence, prevention efforts, and enforcement resources are aligned to address the growing threat of anti-Semitic hate and violence. The motion also asks senior levels of government to provide the necessary funding and support to help municipalities and police services respond effectively to these challenges. We know that hate-motivated incidents place additional pressure on local police services and community safety initiatives. Municipalities should not be expected to shoulder the pressure alone. It is also important to emphasize that while this motion specifically addresses the rise in anti-Semitic incidents, the goal is broader: to ensure that all vulnerable communities are protected from hate and violence. Hate directed at one community ultimately threatens the safety and cohesion of the entire community. Aurora has always stood against that discrimination, intolerance, and violence in all forms. This motion is an opportunity for our council to reaffirm that commitment and to call on the federal and provincial partners to take coordinated action. I believe this motion sends a clear message that Aurora stands firmly against hate, that we support our residents who feel vulnerable, and that we believe government must work together to address this issue. I hope my members of council will support this motion so that we can continue to ensure Aurora remains a safe and welcoming community for everyone.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Weiss, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And I want to thank Councillor Gallo for bringing this forward and for his complete comments. They were tremendous. The only thing that I suppose was left out is that this is a charter right issue. So it does extend across the country and as high as it can possibly be in the federal government. My question to you, though, through the mayor, is have you seen any of these kinds of task force being successfully done somewhere? I'm just interested in the hill that has to be climbed here. I'm prepared to climb it with you, and I'm sure everybody is here. But I'd like to know if you have some knowledge or expertise around what has been done in the past, maybe elsewhere in similar types of communities like ourselves.
Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. I think it's relatively new, and Toronto, I believe, is the first city to adopt it. How far along they are, I think the concept here is to have many municipalities join in communicating to the upper level of government that this is something necessary and needs to be done quickly. So I don't think a task force has not been established yet. This is the point of this, to establish that and move the ball forward.
Councillor.
And I think it's a great place to start is in Aurora to create that playbook for other smaller communities, because it doesn't just happen in larger communities. It happens in these kinds of communities as we've experienced here. So thanks for the motion.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I do just wanted to say thank you to Councillor Gallo for bringing forth the motion, and to thank all the delegates who came out tonight to show their support and to share their thoughts and experiences as well. It's important to hear from you, and we appreciate you taking the time to come speak tonight, and I'll be in support of the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. I also want to thank Councillor Gallo for bringing this motion forward and everybody coming out tonight. Putting these borders and geographical areas around safe spaces are extremely, extremely important. But I also just want to say that outside of those geographical areas, it's equally as important that we have safeguards in place. And so I do want to repeat a strong message that we had sent to the federal government and the provincial government 2 years ago. And I just want to read that out loud because I think it's equally important in this instance. The town of Aurora call on all levels of government to acknowledge its uncertainty and safety concerns in Canada and look to strengthening their available tools to identify insightful speech that encourages violent extremists the ability to publicly manipulate, advocate, and incite violence or physical harm to another human being, whether it be online or in person. I love this motion that's been brought forward by Councillor Gallo, but it's also important that the federal government also look outside those borders. Thank you.
Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I also thank Councillor Gallo for tabling this motion, and also thank all the delegates who delegated tonight on this important issue. You know, every year I think that things would get better, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And it's unfortunate that what some areas of society call unintended biases, you know, these hate crimes, these prejudices against whether it's the Jewish community or any other community, it's fully intended. And I think, you know, motions like this helps us to, you know, reinforce that our community will stand up for that type of, stand up against that type of behavior, and anything that we as a town can do to share information strategically through all levels of government, I'm in full support. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner.
Thank you, Councillor Gallo, for bringing forward this motion. Unfortunately, it's very time sensitive, seeing what's been happening. I'm wondering if there's a way that we can try and hurry this up, because we all know how slowly government works. So I don't know if you have any ideas on that. That may have to be worked out at a future date. I'm really heartbroken that everybody who's come to listen to and speak to this issue is here tonight. I'm sorry that you have to be here tonight. And I think anti-Semitism is not just a threat to the Jewish community. It's about sending a deliberate message through intimidation and violence. And that is against the right of all Canadians to live in safety according to our democratic values. So it is very important to the Jewish community, but has been mentioned as well, to every vulnerable community. And by standing up for the Jewish community, we're going to be standing up for the rights of many people in this country. So I certainly support this motion. Thank the delegations, and let's see how quickly this can be done.
Thank you. Councillor Gallo, second.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone supporting. I'll speculate that it'll be a unanimous decision. And I just wanted to apologize that I haven't acknowledged everyone. I'm somewhat nervous, oddly, not because I haven't done this before, but because I wanted to get it right. And it was important to me to get it right. So thank you, everyone, for coming out and expressing your views. And I look forward to to pushing this ball forward significantly in a very short matter of time, because nobody should be in our community feeling what that community is feeling right now.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner, second time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to suggest that the appropriate staff, you, Mr. Mayor, all members of council, contact the provincial government and the federal government. I mean, passing this is just passing this. I think we're going to have to work at it. So I would request, and anybody who's here tonight, to lobby the other levels of government. We need to get this going fast. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I too want to thank Councillor Gallo for bringing this forward, and I hope that the federal government and the provincial government are listening, and they're listening loud and clear, that what's coming out of not only the town of Aurora, but right across many municipalities, not only in Ontario, but this country. My suggestion, Councillor Gardner, you asked what can we do to push this along? Well, we as elected officials can talk to other elected officials, get them to pass these motions as well. Flood the federal and provincial government with paperwork and force them to make a decision. Show them that it's not just Aurora, it's not just a few municipalities here and there. We're going to FCM in June. Whoever's there, talk to other elected officials, ask them to put these motions forward right across the country. That's how we push this forward. And I know we can do it, and I'm glad that this is here in front of us. So with that, I will call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries unanimously. Okay, move to 15.9. This one is protecting vulnerable social infrastructure in the town of Aurora. Does someone want to move that, please? Councillor Thompson, is there a seconder? Councillor Gallo, thank you very much. If everyone's okay, I'm going to start. Thank you. Well, first, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. You know, at the heart of public service is a simple responsibility: to ensure the people we serve feel safe in their own community. safe in their neighborhoods, safe in their schools, safe in the institutions that serve them, and safe in the places where they gather to worship. Those spaces should be sanctuaries, places where people come together to pray, to learn, to heal, and to support one another. But when hate and intimidation begin targeting these spaces, leadership demands that we stand up and act. Because across our region, we are witnessing something deeply troubling: a rise in hate, intimidation, and anti-Semitism directed at Jewish communities and places of worship. And recently, just this last week, we saw something that should concern all of us. Shots fired at 3 GTA synagogues, including one in Thornhill. Let me say that again. Shots fired at a place of worship. Think about that for a moment. A place where families gather, where children learn their traditions, where people seek peace and reflection. An act like that is not simply directed at a building. It is meant to send fear through an entire community. And when any community in our region is targeted with hate or intimidation, it becomes the responsibility of all of us to stand up and respond. Now, while we have not seen similar occurrences in our town, leadership is not about waiting for something to happen before taking action. Leadership means being proactive, recognizing what is happening around us, and ensuring our community remains safe. Now, let me be absolutely clear tonight. Anti-Semitism has no place in Aurora. None. Zero. But this motion is not about one faith or one community alone. It is about protecting all vulnerable social infrastructure in our town. Places of worship of every faith, schools and childcare centers, healthcare facilities, congregate care facilities. Because every resident in Aurora should feel safe accessing these spaces without fear or intimidation. Aurora is a diverse community made up of people from many faiths, cultures, and backgrounds: Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Palestinian, Israeli, and many others. And our responsibility at the municipal level is simple: to ensure everyone feels safe and respected in our community. Canada is a democracy. Peaceful expression and lawful protest are fundamental rights, and they must always remain protected. But those rights must also be balanced with ensuring that residents can safely attend their synagogue, their church, their mosque, their temple, bring their children to school or daycare, or access healthcare and community services without feeling threatened, and that balance matters. And that is exactly what this motion asks staff to do. It directs staff to develop a bylaw that would help protect vulnerable social infrastructure in Aurora from acts of intimidation, hate, harassment, or violence. Because protecting people as they gather to pray, as they send their children to school, as they seek care, is not political. It is our duty. And that is why tonight I believe this council has an opportunity to send a clear and united message that in Aurora, standing against anti-Semitism and hate of any kind and protecting the safety of our residents is something that we can all stand behind. And I hope we will do that tonight by passing this motion unanimously. Because standing against anti-Semitism and hate should never divide us. Protecting the safety of our residents should always unite us. Aurora has always been a community where neighbors look out for one another. A place where people from every background, every culture, every faith can live together with respect and dignity. And tonight, we reaffirm something fundamental about who we stand for. We will not allow hate to intimidate our residents. We will not allow fear to divide our community. And we will not allow anti-Semitism or any form of hatred to take root here in the town of Aurora. Aurora will always stand for respect. Aurora will always stand for safety. And Aurora will always stand firmly against anti-Semitism. Because in Aurora, hate has no home. Thank you. Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. Well said. I want to begin by applauding the mayor for bringing this motion forward. Similar to conversations taking place in municipalities in Toronto and Vaughan, it recognizes that municipalities do have a role to play when addressing hate, intimidation, and violence in our communities. We are also seeing a troubling rise, as been repeated and merits repetition, in anti-Semitic attacks, not only across Canada, but in York Region and communities close to home. That reality makes it more important that we take thoughtful and meaningful action now. I would like to suggest a friendly to whoever is writing the report. I think a combination of my motion and the mayor's motion, what's kind of, I believe, a bit of a gap is to develop a Made in Aurora strategy, a comprehensive anti-Semitism and hate strategy for the town. I'll throw that out there to staff if they can feel it's appropriate and necessary. I feel that would work well between the two concepts and fill a gap that I believe is needed, and that if we can follow a strategy, the end results are always much easier to achieve and much more positive. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Gilliland?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. McDougall, just listening to, I know Councillor Gallo had mentioned what the town can do in their initiative. And it's funny because I did reach out just to ask what staff initiative has occurred since that motion back in 2023, because I know there was a little bit of call to action what we could do in Aurora, but essentially a lot of the call to action is to the federal and provincial government. So I was really actually impressed with some of the initiatives we have done. And I was wondering if maybe you could touch on that just at a high level. And if you feel that there's anything that we need to add or strengthen to Councillor Gallo's point, then by all means, I'm happy to support, but I would really like to have a little high level explanation if you don't mind.
Ms. McDougall?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly I can go through and summarize at a high level what we have done and achieved in the last few years since 2023. But to Mayor's point as well, commenting on the fact that we've done proactive, but also balance between engagement and education and safety, so that we can create those safe spaces for people to still enjoy our amenities. So, for example, with regards to corporate communications, we've strengthened our social media code of conduct. Actions against violators range from content removal to permanent bans, depending on the severity and frequency, for example. We publish our diversity, equity, and inclusion calendar every year, and that goal there is to encourage the understanding of other faiths and cultures for a more united community. Our community events, special events, we have definitely tightened up and improved our emergency preparedness plans as it relates to a lot of our outdoor events in particular. We engaged and have planned presence for our bylaw team to be there for most of our outdoor events. YRP is engaged and they're part of our consultation with regards to the safety plans for all of those outdoor larger community events. And they're on board with how we deliver those from a safety perspective. Cultural programming obviously is a very honed in and focal point for diversity. We celebrate diversity and inclusion with cultural programming, such as, this isn't a full list, this is just a few, Black History Month, Holi, and Diwali. We monitor social media during the promotion for our community celebrations to remain diligent and aware of any potential risks. If something is commented on, we deal with it right away. In sport, we supported and celebrated members of the LGBTQ S+ community through guest speakers, workshops, and sharing the educational resources of organizations, as well as introducing a BIPOC Breaking Barriers swim program, for example. So we've got a full range of program delivery and variation of diversity. From a corporate services, our bylaw services team has developed a process procedure with YRP on how to respond to hate graffiti. YRP has presented this to the bylaw officers. The training they provided also spoke to awareness on hate materials in various groups. Yeah, from a human resources perspective, as we look internally at our staff and the delivery of our services, in order to strengthen the awareness and education of our staff, we have a speaker series focused on the DEI initiatives. And some of the topics, for example, in 25, focused around Black History Month, anti-Semitism training, International Women's Day, Red Dress Day, Two-Spirited, and LGBTQ awareness, anti-Asian racism, and National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. So there's quite a range of education, but also being proactive and looking at our preventative measures as well when as regards to community safety and ensuring our community feels welcome when they join and participate in our programs and events.
Councillor.
Thank you. I appreciate that overview. I know that was a lot to cover, so I'm really happy to hear that the staff has been very proactive in that department. If there's anything to add, I don't know, Councillor Gallo, if there's something specific, I'm more than happy to support more specifically focus on anti-Semitism, since that is something that's kind of a heightened topic right now. But I do appreciate that high level review. Thank you.
Councillor Garner.
Thank you very much. I'll follow up, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. McDougall. What were you saying about hate material?
Ms.
Mr. Mayor.
McDougall.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, what I was referring to is any, if we are finding on our social media channels, if there has been somebody posted an inappropriate comment, hateful comment, we deal with it immediately.
Councillor.
Thank you. How would, I'm not sure who would answer, how will this make things different than they are today in Aurora when there's, well, hate speech and hateful protest, hateful acts, that they're all covered by the criminal code, and any infractions that we see reported to bylaw or just online, that would be referred to York Region Police, would it not?
I'm going to have our manager of bylaw
Oh,
services, Alex, answer that for you, Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Mr. Way.
appreciate Mr. Ray coming forward.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. The process we've established with York Regional Police, as Director McDougall has mentioned, includes training and awareness for our officers. So when those types of symbols or hate-motivated graffiti or utterances are made in the community, our officers are made aware. There is an investigative process that happens, and that procedure is followed through with York Regional Police so that the appropriate investigation can happen. That referral is made directly to the York Regional Police Hate Crimes Unit. They have a dedicated unit of officers who respond to these types of concerns.
Councillor.
Thank you. So if we saw any evidence of any of our public gathering places or our libraries, schools, whatever, if we saw any hate activity being, putting them under any hate activity, what we do now is we get in touch with York Region Police. So would this change our procedure? How might, I don't understand quite how this would help because we have a strong connection with YRP.
Mr. Ray, maybe you can explain a little bit of how Vaughn does
Mr.
it
Mayor.
as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. It would strengthen our procedure because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's also strengthening the relationship with York Regional Police. So the processes that are in place in some other municipalities right now is a collaborative approach, as opposed to I guess you could say a single source type of approach where it's just a dedicated police service or a bylaw service. So it would work in collaboration and partnership. It would be extra eyes, extra boots, extra knowledge on the ground per se to respond to these types of occurrences or activities that are sometimes happening in our communities.
Thank you, through Mr. Mayor. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think bylaw does an amazing job right now, and I know we have a policy with respect to hateful graffiti to take a photo of it and report it to police. The same would be true of any activity that you got wind of. I got wind of an activity that was supposed to happen in Newmarket last night. I called police. So that I've always thought that bylaw and York Region Police are forming a unit to protect us. So it just might enhance that, is what you're saying?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. That's correct. This would enhance that relationship further
Thank you.
and allow for better protections of members of our community.
Councillor.
And are we able to put a special zone around? I think the whole town would be a zone. Through you. I mean, it's
Mr. Ray?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's an interesting idea, but from the delegation, if, you know, people are using spaces, schools, libraries, our municipal facilities, like how could we put a zone? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. Could we put a zone around that?
If through our bylaw, when it comes back, if it shows that it would incorporate the entire town, then so be it. That's what we do. And we tell people that you're not allowed to come to this town and create fear and intimidation in the town of Aurora, period.
And of course, that's, I believe, a truth now. So I don't know how we would accomplish that. It's a good idea. Staff is going to work on it. As you, Vaughan Vaughan and Oakville, I believe, have something in place. So thank you to staff for having a look at how they operate.
Okay. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Mr. Ray kind of touched on it. You know, first off, you know, I appreciate you as well bringing forward this motion, and I'm certainly supportive of it. But as noted that, you know, the city of Vaughan did implement this a year or so ago. Given that Mayor Del Duca sits on regional council with you, I'm just curious whether you've had a chance to talk to the mayor about this and maybe from his perspective, the impact or difference it's made since they brought it to force.
Absolutely, Councillor. I did have conversations with Mayor Del Duca. We sat down, we discussed this many times, and I let him know that I was going to be putting this forward. I asked him about some of the hurdles. You know, he explained that it's not just about what the hurdles are, it's about what this means to the community. It signifies, as I stated, that you know, if you're even thinking of attempting to create fear or intimidation, that go somewhere else. It's not happening here. And that's what a motion like this does, is it signifies that we don't allow that here, period. And so he did graciously offer for his staff to work with our staff, since they've done a lot of the heavy lifting as far as creating the bylaw. So I'm appreciative of that, and I hope that our staff take him up on that offer and sit down with his staff and come with a bylaw that it not only mirrors that, but is a little bit more Aurora focused.
Thank you. And you said it in your opening comments and heard it from the delegates. People should feel safe. Absolutely. Safe at all times.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. I will call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries unanimously. Council, unless someone wants to take the chair, or we can take a health break right now because I need to get up. Is that fine? We'll take the health break now instead of 9. Is that fine? Okay. So we're going to take our health break, 10 minutes. Thank you. before we're good to go. All right. Council, we are going to move to, I'm going to go to 14.1 because we have a presentation, okay? Everyone good with that? I have a presentation on that one. So 14.1, this is the Home Energy Retrofit Program Design Study. We have a presentation to be provided by Alex Hill, partner Dunsky Energy and Climate Advisors. Mr. Hill, welcome. Are you ready?
Go inside. Good evening. Thank you. So yeah, I'm here.
Mr. Hill, can I just get you to lift that? Like,
Yeah.
if there's a little button there. No, there's a little button on the thing that will raise the whole. There we go.
This isn't part of my 5 minutes, I hope.
No. Well, don't worry. We'll restart. Okay, go ahead.
Great. So I'm here to present to you today the findings from the Aurora Home Energy Retrofit Program Design Study that we conducted on behalf of the town of Aurora. So I'll just begin. And so the objectives are first to recap the results of the feasibility study, which I believe my colleague Janice Ashworth presented a couple of months ago to this council, to present the findings and the results of the program design study, and to seek approval from council for the next steps. The Home Energy Retrofit Program is designed to increase the rate of energy and emissions reductions through encouraging home energy retrofits in low-rise single-family residential homes and to fill gaps in existing programs. So primary objective is reducing greenhouse gases. Secondary objective is to support homeowners, low-income homeowners. So the town of Aurora, as you probably know, in 2019 passed a resolution claiming a climate emergency and setting a target of attaining an 80% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2050. And if you look currently at the greenhouse gas and the energy use within the town's single-family homes, they account for 37% of the town's emissions. So therefore, they would be needed to be addressed under that target. Space heating represents 60% of the energy use within homes in Aurora, and 67% of the energy used for heating homes and other end uses comes from natural gas, which is the main source of emissions. The current retrofit rate is around 1% of homes per year have some sort of an energy retrofit to improve their efficiency or to convert them from natural gas to electricity. You would need to be about 4 times that to hit your 2050 target at this point. So this initiative, the program design study, looks at ways to accomplish that. On top of the greenhouse gas emissions challenges, there's also a challenge of energy poverty. 11% of homes in Aurora experience energy poverty, which means is simply that 6% or more of their household spending it goes towards heating and the energy costs of their home. And so again, energy retrofits are a strategy to reduce the costs for lower income homeowners that come from energy and ideally reduce the energy burden and energy poverty in the community. So the market update since the feasibility study, there's been some action at the regional and local municipal level. So the York region will be launching the York Greener Homes online platform, which includes a home energy rating to give you a reading as to the energy performance of the homes in the communities within the region, as well as home energy coaching services that can help you identify and accomplish retrofit improvements in a home. Markham and Richmond Hill are also undertaking a similar feasibility study for a financing program. And I'll remind you that the conclusion of the financing program feasibility study that we conducted was that it is not a good fit at this time for the town of Aurora to offer financing for home energy retrofits and to play the role of a bank, but instead to look to see if opportunities may arise at the regional, provincial, or federal level in the future and to work with those. In the meantime, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities is no longer offering capital to capitalize loan programs that municipalities would put to homeowners. So that creates yet another barrier to getting this kind of a program done at this time, and that there is no low-cost capital available to support it. At the federal and provincial level, the federal Greener Homes Loan Program, which provided 0% loans for homeowners up to $40,000 has been finished. However, a low to moderate income program is expected to be announced to be delivered imminently. So the conclusion of the program design study really focuses on 3 different levels of action: short-term actions, followed by medium-term action initiatives, and longer-term initiatives. And the conclusion is that the town of Aurora should focus on market transformation efforts and at the same time seek to support low-income families to improve their energy performance of their homes. So in the short-term actions, it starts off with low or no cost value adds that leverage the regional and utility programs, collect data, and advocate for growing support. So essentially use the resources that you have on hand, work within the context of initiatives that are happening at the regional, provincial, and federal level, and try to bring as much of those benefits to the homeowners of Aurora as possible through that work. And I'll dive a bit deeper into that. So it's focusing on education and outreach to the community, support the development and implementation of the York Region Greener Homes Program. So for instance, make sure that homeowners in Aurora are aware of that opportunity and that they're taking advantage of it. Collaborate with municipal partners for further support for the regional program, and achieve this is all achievable through the existing town resources and budget. So there's no budget ask or resources ask in addition for this initiative. It's to leverage the work of the people you have already. In the medium term, this is 3 to 5 years down the road, the program design report recommends that the staff develop a small retrofit grant program for income qualifying Aurora homeowners. This would utilize existing funds from the Green Initiatives Reserve Fund in a financially sustainable manner. I think there's an envelope of somewhere in the order of $50,000 a year that can be taken from that fund without diminishing its overall value. And that would focus on homeowners who qualify for the low income retrofit opportunities offered by Enbridge and Save on Energy at the provincial level, and allowing them to do more and attract more of those funds from those opportunities to homeowners in Aurora by giving them matching funds and a small grant to encourage that, sort of the missing money to get them to do those projects. Longer term, as the opportunities emerge, and perhaps there are new initiatives at the regional level and perhaps at the provincial or federal level. So the first could be work at the regional level to establish a York Region incentive program that could help pay for home energy retrofits. Could also be to work with the other municipalities to establish a regional financing program or perhaps a provincial financing program if that emerges. And also to look at the regional level at building emissions performance standards. And this would be in a collaborative manner with the other municipalities across the York region to identify what can be done under the guise of the regional government. So those are the recommendations that come out of the report. And I think that wraps up the presentation. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir. Council, first, can I get a motion to move the recommendation? Councillor Weiss, second by Councillor Gardner. Any comments, questions to the presentation or the report? Councillor Weiss, go ahead.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. And I have to tell you that the presentation that you delegate at the Environmental Advisory Committee was just as compelling as yours is. And thanks for Natalie for shepherding it through. I have almost no questions about it because it was such a good presentation there as well as now. But one of the things that I found interesting was the whole notion of energy poverty and the identification of that. The other issue that came up at Environmental Advisory here was around the energy audits that's happening, the virtual audits and the privacy of that information, because it's a very important issue for us and privacy of those types of virtual activities. So it wasn't stated here in your presentation, but I know it was captured at Environmental Advisory Committee. The direction in 1 and 3 is very good, but it does leave the question about 4, 5, and 6 and what's going to happen with it. And I haven't been able to find out where the FCM and the federal money has gone outside that it's not available anymore. Was there a reason for it that you know of? Was it running out of money or was it just not being used effectively? Can you help with that, Mayor, through you?
Mr.
Howe? Yes, I can. Oh, sorry, I couldn't see the red light. Yes, I can answer that question. For the FCM, my understanding, we were involved in the design of the initial FCM initiative. And my understanding is that they have dispersed all of the funds that they were provided, both for, I believe they're still conducting studies, but the actual capital that was provided to the municipalities has been dispersed at this point. Whether they were looking at working with some, you could call them sort of mission-driven lenders, people like Cooperators and Vancouver's Van City Investment Bank, who might offer lower interest money that they could then securitize and offer to municipalities to expand programs that are already running. But we haven't yet seen that come to fruition. So my understanding is that the money has been dispersed, has been used. Some of it's been returned, but they're using it now to operationalize and look at other ways that they can pull in private capital and other capital sources that may create opportunities down the road, but nothing has been announced at this time.
Okay. Thanks. It is encouraging, however, that the region has stepped out with the Greener Homes program. And I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure that there's awareness in this community for people to get involved in that. And I'm sure our Director of Communications is listening intently about that, because it's really a matter of communication and creating impetus for it. So I want to thank you for your presentation tonight and for answering my questions.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson?
And thank you. Certainly I'm supportive of the program, especially the short-term initiatives, as outreach, education, and advocacy. I like the fact that it states that there's no additional cost to the town for the implementation of the short-term. But through you to Mr. Gartner, I just wanted to confirm that, while it talks about in the medium term having a retrofit grant program, it would still be subject to the council at the time and the approval of the budget.
Mr. Gartner?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, the council had to make an ultimate decision to approve the program, and the funding source be verified at that point.
Councillor? That's it. Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. Just really quickly, and I wasn't really going to ask this question, but I thought I should. I did receive a phone call from a constituent about a couple of weeks ago prior to this report coming out, and I just kind of dawned on me I should be asking this question through Mr. Mayor to the delegate here, or presenter. I'm so sorry. Is there any evidence to show that if a resident wanted to install a heat pump, that this would actually be cost saving? And I'm asking this because the phone call that I did receive was that they felt that this was the case and they did install a heat pump. This is in Aurora, and their bills were significantly more. So I just want some clarity. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, every home, of course, is different. And so it does depend on the home. With the repealing of the federal carbon tax, the cost benefit of converting from a gas furnace to an electric heat pump for larger homes in particular, it is a harder it is harder to make that cost effective from the homeowner's perspective. For much smaller homes, in many cases, when you remove the monthly gas service fee, so you go full electric, meaning if you have maybe a gas water heater, maybe a gas stove, you remove it all. So you remove that monthly fee, it can become cost effective. And I believe that when in the study, my colleague, when looking at the amount of grant money that you would want to offer to a low income household, the amount that we were assessing was the amount that it would take to make that over the life of the system become cost effective in a smaller home, in a low income home. So I guess the point is yes, you may end up paying more in a lot of homes to go to a heat pump. Unfortunately, we don't have any longer the price mechanism that we had under the carbon tax, which would take the externality of the impact of the greenhouse gases that are emitted and put the cost of that back onto the fuel itself. So at this point, it is cheaper to run a furnace than to run a heat pump in most cases.
Councillor?
Sorry, could you repeat that last part? I couldn't hear what you're saying. You said it was cheaper.
In most cases, it would be cheaper to run a furnace than a heat pump.
Councillor?
Thank you. I appreciate your honesty on that. And I suggest that residents do their homework on whether or not it's something that they want to install. While I'm in favor of retrofitting old insulation and windows and doors and updating that type of refurbishment, definitely I think that speaks for itself. But when it comes to the heat pump, do your homework. I know that this particular resident had said that it costs 30% higher on hydro, which was a huge jump. And I still think there's a lot more work to be done. And I don't think it's a blanket solution with this. But if there's somebody who felt that this was something that was going to be beneficial to them, to their home, by all means, I'm not trying to discourage that, but do your homework is all I'm going to suggest to the residents. Thanks.
Councillor Gardner.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you for your presentation. We did have this at the Environmental Advisory Committee. Can you explore this virtual audit issue and privacy?
Mr. Hill?
So at this point, my understanding is that the York Region program does not disclose the audit results to anybody but the homeowner and people that the homeowner would authorize to receive those. There are programs where the audits are disclosed publicly, and those are designed specifically there as a benefit to homeowners who have done energy improvements in their home, so that it can be visible in the marketplace and you can actually see that performance. That currently isn't, to my understanding, the design of the York
Thank
Region
you.
program.
I'm glad to hear that. Further to what Councillor Gilland has said, the York Region Greener Homes, York Greener Homes, it's an online platform. Would it be able to help a homeowner figure these things out? Because it must be very disappointing to find out that your energy bills have gone up, notwithstanding the tax rebate was, taken away. So how can one thoroughly explore what's best for their home?
So I have not myself gone through the process of the York Region program. But what I would point out is that they also offer the energy coaching service. And if that's delivered, in good faith, as I expect it will be, then that is highly valuable for helping homeowners who have questions about what will be the end cost after I install, what will be the cost to do this project? What will be my monthly bills once I do the project? What other benefits might I get from health, comfort, thermal comfort and so forth, and to understand the full package of what they're doing in the renovation and also how to go about doing it. We often recommend that towns and cities who are not in a position to offer financing, that offering that hand-holding, that concierge, that coaching service, that is a great benefit to a homeowner who is often confronted by a lot of information that's difficult to interpret and hard to navigate, and a process that can be, long and costly and complex in itself to get the renovations and the retrofits done. And that, if it's well devised, an energy coaching service can really help a homeowner to avoid the pitfalls and to go in the right direction and to understand what they're doing along the way. So I think there's a possible very strong benefit from that service that's offered there in conjunction with the audit, which then is a basis for conducting the cost benefit analysis on the home related to the renovation that is going to be done and identifying what are the best measures.
Councillor?
Thank you. So are both offered by the region? I know it offers the virtual audit. Does it offer the coaching service as well?
That is my understanding. This program, I don't believe, has been formally launched. So what we know what is in the intent of the program and the design of the program, but we do not yet see how it is implemented. But those are the two features of the program.
Councillor?
So that would be something very good to put on our website when it's launched. Thank you. That's all I have for now.
Any other comments or questions? I'll vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 9.1. Councillor Gillen, you pulled this. Did you want to move the recommendation? Yes, thank you. Seconder? 9.1. Back to the beginning. Yep. Councillor Thompson. Go ahead, Councillor Gillen.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. McDougall. I read the report on the roller skating. I'm a little disappointed about the price of that. I was really hoping it would be a little more affordable than what was being presented. I was excited about it. I think the community was excited about it. However, I do remain optimistic that there's something that we can do. I'm hoping that, there's some plans that you're saying drop-ins, that was part of the recommendation. But these drop-ins, unless it's a specific event or advertising through the town? Could it be something that the town could do or run and say specifically as an event for roller skating, so it became like a purposeful thing to do with music and fun and whatnot, as opposed to just generally, hey, every Tuesday? I just don't want it to become something that's lost in the wind.
McDougall?
Here, Mr. Mayor, I'm sure staff will review our options. The drop-in is purely the simplest and most feasible. Hosting an event dedicated to that matter would has to be integrated, and we could potentially integrate it into an existing event as an element of that activity or event, just as a feature, and we'll promote it as such. I can ask staff to consider that for sure for this year.
Councillor?
Thank you. Yeah, I think that would be great. I mean, I know there's some people who are in the community that like to put on some live music or records, as a lack of a better term, or some lighting, and we could turn it into something that'd be fun for all sorts of different ages, and they can dust off their, I guess their inline, I don't know, the single roller skate thing. But I just think that would be something really fun for the community. So through you, Mr. Mayor, Ms. McDougall, what's next with this, approving this today?
Through Mr. Mayor, right now, the way it's, we understand it to be, if council's comfortable with us proceeding with the drop-in concept, our staff firstly will just look at our schedule and availability of the dry ice pads once the ice comes out. Similar to what we did a couple of years ago regarding the pickleball, introduction of pickleball on our dry pads. We do the same for this matter and do a promotion around that as a program drop-in. It, depending on the facility we put it in, may have to have staff coverage to be part of that, or not, depending on which pad we utilize. And then as far as the feature event or activity within an event, that is something separately that I'd be asking staff to consider if it's something they feel they can do and incorporate into an existing event of this year. So it's on the radar for staff to incorporate going forward.
Councillor?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just going to simmer on that because I feel like we need to kind of set a day so people get excited about trying it out, as opposed to saying every Tuesday from 2 to 4 or whatever that may be. But that's kind of my sentiment, but other councillors have questions, I'm sure. But that's kind of where I'm at. And hopefully that's something that we can look towards to gain excitement and momentum about coming and doing that.
Councillor Weiss?
Thanks. And I had greater expectations than this with respect to the expense and the rest of it, but I understand the cost, particularly we're not familiar with the town. We used to be a roller skating town and we've lost that momentum. So I agree with Councillor Gilliland about just offering a pop-up. And I'm wondering if you can do the same kind of things that we do with all other sport activities by providing a learn to skate, doing it with youth, doing it with young people, and build the momentum based upon the development of skill. And of course, do all the other types of social things that are being done. So when you're looking at what the next steps are, if we can think about offering programming for this so that 5 years down the road, we're going to have a large number of people. I see this as a sport tourism opportunity too, because if we do it first, other people will come to a place that really rocks the place. And I think it's important for that social element because that's a very important part of the roller skating crowd. So I just leave you those comments as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. I'm in full support of this. It sounds very, very exciting. Will we be mandating or encouraging people to wear appropriate gear while roller skating? The reason I say that is because my left knee continues to communicate with me the last time I went roller skating and says, why didn't you put on knee pads?
Ms. McDougall?
Through Mr. Mayor, similar to our drop-in skating, public skating, we do strongly encourage helmets and encourage obviously wrist and elbow and knee pads, certainly for learners especially. We have never made it a mandated thing unless it's something that we are in an instructor-led program where we can control that. For now, it would be strongly encouraged for your own safety to use it.
I also strongly encourage everyone.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Thank you. Through you to Ms. McDougall. Ms. McDougall, I don't know if you know or not, but as Lisa was preparing this report, do you know if she looked about to other municipalities to see if they also offer a drop-in service? And if so, some of the things that they're doing to make it successful?
Mr. McDougall?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as we were researching, and it's noted in here, Stouffville is the one that had the more of a weekly program with the private entity that's listed here. But it had grant funding to help offset and so on. As far as the drop-in model, not too many do it yet, but we're learning, and we'll certainly, any experience that they have, that we'll just sort of steal to make ours as strong as we can to get it going. I think promotion is a big thing. I know that there obviously is already existing popular roller skating rinks, not just in York Region, but beyond. We could even, in the days you're talking about, a try-it kind of model is to bring in a guest, not performer per se, but somebody with that skill set, just to draw attention to how this could actually be. So I'm careful to not tip the scale of a new event, because we're in year. I've got to be sensitive to the budget aspect, but it's certainly a try-it kind of initiative. We can look to see what we can achieve this year.
Thank you.
Councillor? That's it. Any other comments, questions? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 10.1. Councillor Gardner, you pulled this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? Yeah, I think did you pull that one, Councillor Weiss? Yeah, so can you move, do you want to move it? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Weiss, thank you. Councillor Gardner, go ahead.
I hand the floor to Councillor Weiss, because I know this is something he's been working on.
Councillor Weiss, go ahead.
I appreciate that. We have an amendment to the motion that was presented at the last council meeting. And it refers to the financial report, or the report on finances here. So I want to thank the staff for the report and the subsequent discussion about the contents that I've had with the bylaw, as well as Mrs. Desario. They provided comments about the scale, hinted at costs, but have not provided the details of those costs in the report. And I think that's an unfortunate thing for now, but I hope we can rectify that. Let me start at the importance of this bylaw. As you heard from the delegates tonight, this isn't a trivial thing. It's life-altering for them and for all the other renters in this community. And if we believe the statistics that are there, that's 19% of our population who are residents who live in rental units. That's 12,300 people who at some point could learn that their landlord wants to improve his property, which means to renovate it, to increase rents. And should the existing tenant not be able or want to and can't afford to wait, or can't afford those increased costs, this is again life-altering. They could be on the street looking for other affordable accommodations, which can be in the supply chain for rental units. This is really at the heart of any renoviction law. It's not designed to restrict landlords from renovating or ask for reasonable increases in rent, as is provincially mandated. We have a landlord and tenant board that does that all the time. It's designed to allow renovation and improvements for landlords, but not to evict tenants for an extended period of time, nor ask for unreasonable rents increases or prevent the existing tenant to return from their home, which is the crux of the problem. The province doesn't have a renoviction law now. They've been working on it now for 2 years. And so we've had conversations around here about the importance of urgency on this. The only the recourse or action for a tenant is to appeal to that landlord and tenant board. But if you look at what they're doing right now, and a recent report from Tribunal Watch of Ontario occurs mostly because of the tenant non-payment for various reasons. And these delegates will tell you that they've been on the mark every month paying a rent to their landlord. So that certainly isn't their issue. The tribunal has a large backlog of landlord-tenant complaints. As of today, there are an average of 44,000 cases pending and a wait time of average of 5 months before a dispute is even heard. So consider that if someone told you that they're going to let you go and you now have a serious length of time before your dispute is heard. A quote from the Tribunal Watch states that this is devastating for small landlords from non-paying tenants and tenants who continue for months in dangerous housing. I state this because I also have respect for landlords and those people who provide rental units for people and they respect their rights to manage their properties well. And they are the majority, thankful. So to protect the tenants from renoviction, and as stated in the report, mostly larger municipalities in Ontario have implemented their own renoviction bylaws. Other smaller communities, such as ours, are identified in this report, have instigated the concept on behalf of their residents. The report shows that some of these have rather negative comments, largely because the administrative costs to manage the population of something like 2.5 million people in Toronto down to the scale of Aurora with a population of 65,000, you don't need 200 people. You have something that's a scale less than that. Likewise, these large communities like Hamilton and others have problems that Aurora surely can avoid. And I'm disappointed that staff haven't provided a report that mentions or evaluates our community with that scale in mind. So where we are right now is that I suggest a single full-time person or less would probably be required, but we don't know that for sure because it's not in the report. And that is where the amendment to this, the amendment to the motion is.
Councillor, you're at 5, but if you put your amendment forward, I'll let you keep talking.
Okay. Can we have the amendment put up, please? Thank you.
Okay, can I get the amendment up and is there a seconder for the amendment?
Great.
Councillor Gilliland, thank you. So let's just get it up. Actually, why don't you just continue and then we'll all read the amendment as you're.
Okay, great. Let me also say that the cost of administration of this issue is not for the staff to decide, it's for this council to decide. Notwithstanding, we do not have the actual cost of administration due to local needs, nor the information of the landlord-tenant board rental complaints related. It doesn't mean that it's not present, nor overly costly. We have evidence before us of a problem that immediately affects 6 families and units and likely another 20 very soon. So without proper communication to our renters in town, there may be more that we're aware of. So I'm reminded of the phrase originally by Nicholas Butler, who was the president of Columbia University, who stated the population of nations may readily be divided into 3 groups. Those who make things happen, many more that watch things happen, and the overwhelming majority who have no notion of what is happening. I prefer us in Aurora to be a group who makes things happen, not watch things happen or wonder what happened. So I'm proposing this amendment and I hope you can support me in taking a look at the true administrative costs to scale in Aurora to implement a renovation bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions to the amendment? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Back to the main motion as amended. Are there any comments or questions? Councillor Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We all know that Aurora is a very expensive place to live, that there's not many affordable housing units. The kids that came to Hotspot over the 18 years, hundreds of kids, most of them aren't in Aurora any longer because they can't afford to live here. So did I do through you, Mr. Mayor? I'm sorry if I did. Anyway, it's you know, I don't know if I don't believe anybody at this table has had this problem. We have had issue before with an apartment complex on Wellington, and when they renovated, of course, the people were able to move back in, but the rents were not affordable. So anything that we can do to help people who are renting and are perhaps in this position or will be in this position, anything that we can do to help them, I would like to explore. So thank you, Councillor Weiss. I'm in support of the motion.
Any other comments, questions? Councillor Gallo?
Sorry, just to confirm the timing of this, if it's something that's feasible for staff to get back to us for Q2, which I think is April. No.
Who wants to answer that one? Mr. Serio. Oh, Alex, you're coming up to, okay. I didn't see you coming up. I was going to go to Mr. Serio, but go ahead, Alex. Does the timing work for you? I'm assuming you worked with Councillor Weiss on this?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we worked with Councillor Weiss on this and reporting back to council in Q2 of this year with the financial feasibility of this type of program is feasible.
Okay, Councillor Gallo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 11.1, Councillor Gardner, you pulled this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Kim. Go ahead, Councillor Gardner.
For anybody who's interested, they can look at attachment 1 or statement 1. That gives you, hold on, where is it? Just the amount of money we earn. And you go through and it's the expenses and how much we earn, how much we spend, how much we cost you. And if you go to attachment 3, I found it a little confusing. So I'd like to ask Mr. Gartner. You're not a Gartner, you're a Gartner. If you could just explain on attachment 3 for the Committee of Adjustment.
Mr. Gardner.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Attachment 3 presents the committee. Sorry, what were they called? Committee of Adjustments remuneration in 2 pieces. The first piece represents the month of January only, because that's when the board membership term is over. And then the second piece is from February until the end of December is the remaining part. So there's a full 12 months worth of remuneration here. It's just broken into the 2 pieces to kind of show how the membership changes in January each year.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Gartner. I wouldn't want anybody to think that anybody on the Committee of Adjustment was paid $1,375 per meeting. So that is for 11 months because the Committee of Adjustment changed membership. Thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? Call vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 13.1. I apologize. Councillor Gillen, did you pull that one? That's the trees? Yeah, thank you. Did you want to move the recommendation? Thank you. Seconder. Mr. Thompson, go ahead, Councillor Gillen.
Thank you. Honestly, I just wanted to say that I'm really glad to see that this is coming forward. I think it's great that we're giving homage to the heritage trees in our community, and there's such a vast section of how we can actually commemorate them through not only protection, but also education and celebration, and also by seed protection and the genus strain. There's just so many aspects of that. Through Mr. Mayor to Ms. Teenkamp. I did go through the draft bylaw or management guide rather. And I was wondering if there was an opportunity to also include an educational section about collaborating this data with various institutions that would benefit from this type of data, since we already have various universities that do some specific work on some of the trees in Aurora, which is an interesting fact. Is that something that we could include?
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly, I'll speak to the manager and we can include some information and verbiage regarding collaborating with institutions and universities.
Councillor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just a quick question. As you're having these conversations, I know you had a lot of them with various different committees and people and so forth. Was there any excitement or ideas floating around about some potential celebrations?
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly we had very good feedback regarding it. People were actually interested in expanding it outside to include private trees, and there was a strong desire to do that. So that's something certainly we'll be looking forward. We're going to start small, start with some town trees, and if there's an interest to grow it to some private trees, we'll look into that. With that, we've had some initial conversation with some tree companies that are actually interested in potentially partnering with us and having maybe some grant funding or something available for preserving some of these private trees if we were to include them in the programming, because arboriculture care is very expensive. People have also really interested in maybe having some public walks, some QR codes and things like that. So yeah, there's lots of great ideas that have come out of these meetings, and we're excited to put it forward to the public.
Councillor.
Great. I'm really excited for it. And I really look forward to the continued investigation and success of this. Thanks.
Skai.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Ms. Steenkamp. Thanks to Mr. Volpanestra. These are not trees on private property.
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, this strategy is just based around town-owned trees with the potential to expand it to private in the future.
Thank you. So what happens if a home is preserved as a heritage home? The trees on the property would not be declared heritage trees?
Steenkamp.
That's a question.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So trees on a heritage property are included as part of heritage. But this is more about celebrating protection of trees in general, and ensuring that we have an end of life program for them and bringing attention to the public. When we get into some of the private trees, and if we include them in the program, as you can appreciate, there's a lot of rear yard private trees that the public may not know about. People may not want to join in. We certainly know there's some specific trees on private property that are of great interest, but we need to get our heads around including private within this, and then having a program and a policy put forth so the public understands all parameters around it.
Councillor.
So if I own a heritage house, do I know that I can't cut down that heritage tree? Or can I cut down that heritage tree?
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if those trees if the house is designated and the property is designated, then there has to be a request to the town to remove a tree.
Councillor.
I'm not sure if people know that. Is there a way to make sure that they do? I mean, we can always do communication, but I don't think it's a given that people know that if they have a heritage home, they can't cut down their heritage tree. I mean, they may not buy the home if they thought they couldn't cut down the tree. So it's just any way to ensure that the public is as informed as possible.
Councillor Reese.
Yeah, my questions have been asked and answered, and thank your delegate who came to the Environmental Advisory Committee. They were very helpful. The only one that's left for me is this comment, and it came from a resident saying, "What's an afterlife program?" But I believe what the afterlife program is really referred to the disposal and repurposing of the wood. Is that correct, or is there something different than that?
Steenkamp?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the Afterlife program could include milling of the lumber, working with some artisans potentially in the community to repurpose it, create some art, create some furniture. The other part of it is if we are collecting some seed stock from these trees, and we're starting some nursery stock to be replanted on our own land. So as you can appreciate, we can generate probably quite a few or germinate quite a few seeds and have quite a few trees. So there may be ability to have those for sale for the public, for purchase, for planting on their own private property, so they can have a little piece of that within their own property.
Thank you. That's all.
Councillor Gallo, second time.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify something to Councillor Gardner, if I may. That as far as I understand, through Mr. Mayor, Ms. Steenkamp, you can confirm this. Any designated heritage property, the trees, all landscaping is considered heritage. And I think I remember this because we've had some residents come to council to ask to remove trees that were not old. They may have only been 2 years old, but because it's on a designated heritage property, it falls into that category. And I know for myself, I didn't agree with that 2-year-old tree being a part of that. And I think that particular example, we allowed that tree to be removed for reasons that didn't make sense. I don't want to get back into that file, but if you can just confirm, like that's what it means and it's always kind of been there.
Ms. Steenkamp?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, our bylaw, tree protection bylaw actually speaks to the heritage trees and their protection and the process for removal of them. And certain size of trees do not classify as heritage. It has to be of a certain species, caliber, and that's all determined through the ISA and some specific criteria surrounding it.
Councillor?
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 13.2, Councillor Gillen, you pull this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? Yep. Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Kim. Go ahead, Councillor Gillen.
Yeah, I just had some quick questions and it's maybe just me because I haven't seen this update in a very long time. So I just had a question. There was something about the ownership of the water. What if the owner is on well water? Just trying to remember the actual page 5 of 11. It's about making sure that all properties are on the water system or can't bypass the system. I think, yeah, it was the bypassing. Prohibits new bypass piping and authorizes the town to require removal of existing bypass piping at the owner's expense. And the reason was to prevent unmetered consumption and maintain the accuracy and integrity of billing. And I know there's not very many properties that are on well water now, but I imagine there could be. I don't know. But what if the owner was on well water, and does that exclude them? Through Mr. Mayor to whomever, I'm not sure. Ms. Cook, Mr. Cook?
Lawrence?
Page 5 of 11 of the report at the very bottom.
It's the Waterworks.
Am I on the right report?
Council, if you want, you can stand this one down. You can pull it at council when
Mr. Marmuno's here?
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have one more question
Sure.
on this. And this just might be my ignorance, considering I'm on the JCC, but private fire hydrants, I kind of thought all fire hydrants were on public town-owned property other than maybe the fire station itself, but still they're funded by the town. So if you can give me an example of what that means, private fire hydrant, that would be great. And if we need to wait till council, I can do that too.
We'll get Ms. Camp. I think she can answer the other one too
Oh,
for you.
okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Camp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, regarding the fire hydrants, there's numerous private fire hydrants on property. For an example, like an industrial area, there will be rear fire hydrants on those properties. So it's up to them to maintain them as per the fire code. So they need to be inspected by fire routinely, and it's their responsibility to deal with those because they are on private property.
Councillor?
Thank you. So essentially it's on commercial. This is not on like residential properties. I was looking at this as a residential lens. So there's no residential properties that have private fire hydrants, and I'm just trying to understand.
Ms.
Thanks.
Camp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly not individual residential properties. There may be a condo corporation or something that would have a fire hydrant potentially with it, but for the most part, they're on ICI properties.
Okay.
Councillor?
That's all. Very brief questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Garner?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. To Ms. Camp, I'm looking at section 5 and it says it's water meters. The section shall not apply to water used for construction purposes as improved in writing by the town. So my understanding is that at the moment, we don't meter the water that's used during the construction process by a developer. Perhaps you could find out if that's correct. It was at least up until a year ago. And if so, we need to do something about that.
Ms. Camp?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, you obviously don't recall, but I did bring a report to council on bulk water, which is the construction use water. That was last year, and council endorsed the recommendations, which was to ensure that there's a meter in place at the curb now. Yeah. So, and then there's other levels of where we can draw funds from the developer.
Thank you very much for reminding me.
Councillor Weiss?
Thanks, and I agree, and I like the report and looking forward to it being completed. My immediate concern is for the council approved motion to bring a specific report regarding the relief for tenants of St. Andrews Village Shopping Center. And so I'm wondering if that is being rolled into this. So it's probably through you to either Ms. Camp or Mr. Gartner about it, because what I'm concerned about is the urgency that these people have for rent relief or expense relief. And it was approved by the council that, yeah, we should look at this. But is that a separate and a special a report that you're bringing back that is different than this report? Through you, Mayor?
Mr. Gardner?
Through you, Mr. Barrett. Yes, it'll be a separate report. We're planning on bringing a report back in June, which will provide an update on a stormwater rate review that we're undertaking, and we'll address that subject as well.
Thank you.
Councillor?
That's it. Thank you.
Councillor Gardner, second time?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to agree with the urgency of this issue. Do I have an assurance that it'll come back before we take our council recess? Anybody? I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry, Mr.
Sorry, can
Gordon.
you just say that again, Councillor Gardner?
Perhaps for the council meeting, can we have an assurance that this will come to council before we take our council recess?
Councillor Gardner?
About St. Andrews Plaza?
Through you,
Mr.
Mr.
Gardner.
Mayor, yes, the plan is to bring it in June. The report will come in June with the recommendation that relates to that subject as well.
Thank
Councillor.
you. We're being recorded, Mr. Partner.
I got you.
Is that all? Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? Opposed, that carries. 14.2, Councillor Thompson, you pulled this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? Thank you. Seconder, Mr. Weiss, go ahead, Councillor Thompson.
I really just wanted to, I've spoken to Mr. Ramuno at length about this, but I really want to reinforce the idea that I'm fully supportive of the idea of revoking service allocation if they don't use it after a certain time period. And I think we really should look more to doing that more often. I know that we can't with the minutes of settlement, but too often we approve it. Too often they come in front of us saying that, you know, they want this, they want that, and then they don't build. And so anything we can do to impose a use it or lose it policy, I'm fully supportive.
Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. Just trying to find this report here. Through Mr. Mayor to, I guess, Lawrence, just a quick question. With the list of projects that are being tabled to be removed, were they informed that this was happening?
Lawrence.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, the listed applications are aware that their proposal has been inactive for quite some time now. Most of them have been inactive for 3 years, and we've been working with staff on this, and they've been informed that this is being prepared tonight.
Councillor.
Thank you. And through Mr. Mayor to Lawrence, and there was no objections? Did they have any comments or anything?
Lawrence.
No, not at this time.
Councillor.
Thank you. And then just one last question on the list to award or put on the approved Appendix C. You have an address of 180 Wellington Street West, and I'm wondering if you meant 180 Wellington Street East. Makes a difference.
Lawrence.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, that's just a typo. And for clarity, that this is a list of applications that we're looking to prioritize. We've received approvals to, and when servicing is made available, we're going to look into this list of applicants. So thank you for that clarification.
Councillor.
Thank you.
Mr. Gallo.
Thank you. Just, and if nobody knows tonight for council or at some point, in terms of projects that have approval and have been given allocation through minutes of settlement, what is stopping us from removing those through our solicitor or at another point if someone doesn't?
Sarah.
You know what? Great.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if we remove them, we would be considered in breach of the minutes of settlement. It's an agreement, and we didn't put in the agreement that they could be removed or that allocation could be removed if so many years had gone by. We will likely probably start including that now in our minutes of settlement, but at the times we didn't.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If on an ongoing basis, if we can make sure we include that.
Yep. Councillor Gardner.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Cook. Interesting to see you back at the council table. Could you find out, I thought we had a policy that after a certain amount of years, if the capacity wasn't used, then it was withdrawn. I remember fighting for, I think it was Hartman House, because they've done so much work trying to figure out that property. If you know it at the moment, but if not, could you find out if we do have a policy whereby we withdraw service after a certain amount of years?
Lawrence.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Mayor, we do have official plan policies to address that. There's a number of applications with a number of timeframes. In addition, we are imposing the sunset clause in our zoning bylaws as well.
Councillor.
So it's really not, it's not up to the developer to object. I suppose they could object, but we have the right under our policies to withdraw. Thank you.
We do. We have the right to revoke water allocation.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councillor Gillen, second time.
Thank you. I forgot to ask this. I'm looking at the list of properties that we are intending on revoking, and I think I understand why perhaps these projects haven't moved forward, but that's a different conversation, and sometimes to no fault of the developer. But here we are, and I understand there's a property in, well, there's a couple of properties in Ward 2, but this one in particular, a lot of developments, has a parcel of land there that's been rather unkempt with a big crater hole for some time and has really caused quite an eyesore in the community. And now that this is being revoked, it's really clear that nothing is going to be moving forward. And what measures do we have in place to ensure that this piece of land is not going to become overgrown and weedy and dusty and ugly and remain this way? Do we have anything that we can in place to be able to clean this up and make it a little more aesthetically pleasing, since now there really isn't any movement going forward?
Lawrence?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, we do have property standard bylaw in the town to coordinate to make sure that all properties are within safety standards. As well as I can double check our site plan agreement to review some of the clauses in there in the event that developers do not move on ahead, and what safety measures that might be in place in there. So.
Councillor?
Thank you. I mean, I'm going to have some offline more discussions about this because I do think it's a little bit of a challenge with the fencing and everything else. And I'm pretty sure the residents of Aurora don't want to be looking at this unkempt property and fenced in as well, construction zone for what potentially could be another 10 years. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Oh, Councillor Kemp, sorry, did you want? Oh, 1 sec. I got to get you back on. Go ahead.
Thank you. Through you to Mr. Cook, just one question. I believe I know the answer, but so for those who are losing allocation, does that mean that they have to come back to another future public planning when they are ready, or they'll just, or is this just means that they're just sliding below the priority list?
Councillor, they're just losing water allocation. They're not losing their approvals.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions? I'll just say, I'm in favor of this. I think it's important that we continue to enforce the use it or lose it policy when it comes to water allocation. We all know that we are short, and anything that we can do to maneuver and provide water allocation for those developments that are actually ready to go on the ground. Because at the end of the day, when we sit here and we approve these applications, we expect them to be built. And so I think it's vitally important that we continue to look at this, and anytime something comes up and it's hit that time limit, that we should move on it and really look at enforcing this. The other one is, obviously, as we all know, we did pass our sunset clause, which Lawrence mentioned, which revokes the approvals after a certain amount of time. And those ones we have written into the settlement agreements and some of the ones that we've moved forward. So this is actually important that we actually include this as well. Hopefully we do that. And, we can really push some of these developments to move and put those shovels in the ground and get moving on housing in our community. So thank you for bringing this forward, Lawrence and Mr. Ramuno. And see where we go from there. I'll vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 14.3, Councillor Gardner, you pulled this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Thompson, go ahead, Councillor Gardner.
Mr. Mayor, just welcome Mr. Deane into the council chamber. It's been a while. I just wanted to say that I agreed with this policy. The same for 14.4. But I did want to ask you, there is a very It's bright, it's lit, it's big, it's on Yonge Street, it's about a block. It's on the west side, it's about a block south of Wellington. And it's really an eyesore, especially for our historic downtown. I don't expect you to have an answer because I didn't call you in advance, but I would like.
Councillor, I'm going to ask just because I'm getting, I need you to speak to the actual item and the location. I know you want to ask about another one, but that's something that you can ask Mr. Jean at a different time.
Thank you. It's our policy, thank you, is in place for a reason to respect our downtown core and actually our sign bylaw. So I certainly approve of it. And I will get in touch with you to find out the answer to my question.
Thank you. Councillor Reese?
Yes, my only question is that I read something in the report and that I heard something different from the delegate before, and it was around the only problem that I have with it is that there's distractions with these types of digital signs, and the digital sign, she said that there was no changeover on the digital sign, yet in the report it says that there's a changeover every 10 seconds of the sign. So I wonder where we are with that. Is there, because that's at the crux of the issue of distraction, particularly on Yonge Street, where you have flashing lights and different colors and changes. So I was concerned when I heard the delegate say that it was a static sign, not a dynamic one. So if you can, through you, Mayor, to Bill, if you can, Mr. Jean, if you'd let us know a little bit more about that.
Mr. Jean?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. The proponents of these types of signs states that there are no studies ever done that causes distraction. Those are the proponents, which Jolt would be one. The opponents of these signs say that it causes distractions to drivers, and when they're driving on the road, may cause them to keep their eyes off the road. So both consensus, there's no proof there's on either way. But in this particular case, for this bylaw, that is, I put that in the bylaw, in the report, just to provide council with all the information possible with regards to these digital dynamic signs. Now, in their report, from speaking to Jolt, they're every 10 seconds there's going to be a new message. So that's how it works. But the main crux of this report is it's a third-party sign, which is very strictly prohibited by our bylaw, and we've had past precedents. If you recall, there was the communication tower. They wanted to put a third-party sign, and that was denied by council. So this would set a very bad precedent for the town. It would open up possibility of billboards and those types of things. So the main reason for the denial would be the third-party sign, because that would be set a precedent for the town.
Thanks for providing that distinction.
Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. It's clear in the report that, from my perspective, the biggest issue is from safety, and also that it says many municipalities restrict these advertisements to avoid visual cluster and reduce driver distraction. To me, that's the crux of this issue, as it was on the Bayview telecommunications tower, very large screen that you could see from the moon, it seemed like. So I'm not in favor of this, and I'm happy to see the report.
Councillor Thompson?
Certainly, I support the staff recommendation, and I agree with the comments before that. I mean, yes, it's about safety, and yes, it's ensuring that, we don't set a precedent, because I'm sure there are many other businesses out there who rely on a similar model of display advertising to be able to move forward. And I'd hate to see us inundated with these kind of initiatives. And so I think we need to continue to hold firm on our policy of no third-party advertising.
Councillor Reese, second that?
Yes, thanks. One last thing. I just want to ask the question about our own digital sign that is at the corner of Orchard Heights and Wellington, and that is a digital sign, and it is a dynamic sign, and I just...
It's also a municipal sign.
And it's a municipal sign, not a third-party sign.
Yes.
So that's our comment about that, because I'm anticipating someone asking, well, what, why don't you do what you say you're going to do? So, but can somebody tell me what the rate is of change on that sign? Does anybody know that? And maybe that's an issue.
Ms. Smith, do you know the rate on that one?
Through you, Mayor, I believe our signs change every 15 seconds. And I think what the delegate was referring to is our signs don't actually animate. There's no graphics that move in that 15 seconds. It's just a slide that changes every 15 seconds.
Thank you.
Councilor?
That's good.
Any other comments, questions? I mean, I think we all agree when it comes to third-party digital signs. I think there's been quite a few that have come in the past as well, and we've turned them down and we've held firm on that. And so I think we got to continue to hold firm on that. I don't think anyone wants to see us have, as Mr. Jean described it, opening the door for multiple signs, billboards everywhere, running all up and down Yonge Street, or even other streets. So thank you, Mr. Jean. Appreciate it. Call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. I'm assuming we don't need to talk about the next one, but we'll just move a motion. And yes, Councillor Gardner, seconder. Councillor Reese, seeing no comments or questions. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, 15.1, Councillor Thompson, it's your motion. Did you want to move it? Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gillen, thank you. Councillor Thompson, go ahead.
Thank you. Just, as the motion indicates, it's really just we'll call it a partial exemption from the Clean Communities bylaw. It's specifically related to the maintenance of grass and the turf. As you know, I mean, we have a number of golf courses. A lot of them have homes bordering on the golf courses. I would, in my experience, say that, they operate on a good neighbor policy. They have good relationships with those that border. But at the same time, the way the bylaw is written is that technically they could be in violation of the bylaw for not keeping their grass to a certain standard. For those that are familiar with golf and play golf, we know that on the fringes, sometimes we'll call it the rough, and some golf courses, as part of their experience on the whole, they will allow the grass to grow to more than 20 centimeters in the rough, and that in terms could put them in violation. And so theoretically, somebody could lodge a complaint, and that would force bylaw to go out and serve a notice of violation. But we recognize, and what we've tried to identify here, working with staff, is that it's really just those areas that are actually specific to the golf course itself, the areas of play. And that we recognize that, these owners, and many of us know them individually as well, they are good stewards of their golf courses. They take pride in their course. They're out there maintaining them all the time. These are not unkept properties. They are manicured and managed in that sense. And so we don't want to see an issue whereby bylaws force to give them a violation when really, I think it warrants them being able to manage that aspect of their business and have this exemption just limited to really the operational part of the golf course and specific to the grass and turf maintenance standards.
Councillor Reese?
Certainly in favor of this motion. And in fact, recognize that the golf courses in question in town are very good neighbors. And they're such a good neighbor. One of them is that they allow their people to have their dogs walking through the park all winter. And my problem is some of the people that are walking in there are not good neighbors. Because as we walk through today and we see what happens to the dog dirt that is now coming to the surface, I really think that something needs to be done to encourage our residents who take advantage of the goodwill of Mr. Nesbitt and others to start picking up after their dogs, and they should
I'll pull
consider.
you back to the motion, but I get what you're saying. Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Point taken.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner?
I certainly agree. I'm just wondering, Councillor Thompson, have you had any complaints that made you think of bringing this forward?
Councillor Thompson?
I've not had any complaints, but I do know that there were some conversations had with one property owner and a particular golf course for sure. And that's partly what spurred some of these conversations and the development of this bylaw.
Councillor?
But not anything actually happened with those concerns and conversations.
Councillor?
Maybe the mayor will permit me. The last time golf courses came up at this table was with respect to,
Tree bylaw.
yes,
And they
improper
were
cutting
exempt,
of
and they
trees.
exempted. I know, we had a long discussion about that. We did.
When that
Yes,
discussion went through 3 councils.
yes. You are correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions to this one? I'll call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 15.2, Councillor Gilliland, this is yours. Did you want to move your motion? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Kemp, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you very much. I think it's pretty explanatory, this motion. Essentially, local governments do many, many things quietly in the background, but when something urgent happens, like an emergency road closure or a major water disruption or a major snowstorm, public safety or so forth, we want to be notified in a timely manner and not necessarily rely on word of mouth or social media and so forth. And I have utilized this opt-in service with other services like Hydro One and other services to where residents can choose to opt in to receive text messages or emails if there was an emergency. And it does make it a very effective tool to receive that information. That's really important. I did look into whether or not other municipalities did engage in this type of communication, and I was surprised to see there were many. So I know it is something it's possible. Apparently Toronto, Vaughan, Hamilton, Mississauga, just to name a few that do this. And I'm really just asking staff to explore implementing the same kind of technology here. I think it does exist, and I think it'd be really helpful for the community. For an example, we've had some major infrastructure burst, and it's caused road closures on our main arteries, and that's something that we could, inform the public really quickly to divert. And in other cases, I've had some residents this year complain because they didn't know about a significant weather event and about parking on the streets and receiving tickets during what would be considered normal parking hours. And so I think that also helps with that communication piece, that they need to know that they cannot park on the road. So this is just an added tool, but I think that will be beneficial to the community.
Thank you. Councillor Rees.
Yes, I'm in favor of this report back. I'd like to see how that can be done, the cost for it, et cetera. But what it says in the report is that we have had multiple inquiries about weather and issues that are in front of us. So I think when the report comes back through you, Mayor, to Ms. Teenkamp or whoever's creating this report, I think it would be her. But I'd like to see what the incidents of these are. It would be helpful to know how many people are really asking about these kinds of alerts and having needs for this, because there are a lot of alerts around for weather, et cetera, but I'd like to see what the extent of the problem is in the report, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kerner.
I'm not opposed to staff looking into this, although I would like to know how much time it is going to cost staff. And the only problem I've ever had that residents have had, and I'm sorry Mr. CEO is not here, is finding out about power outages. It's impossible to get hold of Electra, and it's very frustrating. I believe I told you about a senior couple that was huddled up in the library because they had no power. They had no idea of what was going on. It was just, it's a ridiculous situation for us to put our residents in. So I would like to know if electric could be included in this with any real information. And I'd also like to know how much time staff thinks this would take them, through you, Mr. Mayor, to whoever would be involved in this, or you can tell me next. You can tell us at the council meeting.
Okay, we'll get that information for you.
Thank
Councillor.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, because as Councillor, we said we do get a lot of alerts, so it has to be in that context, the cost. Thank you.
Councillor Gilliland, second time.
Thank you. Just real quickly. I know that Electra does have their own alerting system that you can go on and you can check and get updates, but I appreciate the notion of figuring out what exactly it is that we're going to alert. As far as like a text message, I don't think we have any kind of text message kind of system at all. So I would say that we don't get any alerts, and that's kind of what we're opting to do. And this would be an education piece for people to opt in. I know we had an app a long time ago, so probably predates you, and it was a way for the community to utilize for significant weather events. And at that time, I felt that maybe we were too premature to really utilize that the same way. But given the success that I've experienced, I've had with text alerts, not just in Ontario, but in other parts of the world that I subscribe to, it's been extremely effective. And I felt that because of my experience that perhaps this could be something that could work here. And I did talk with staff earlier, and they felt that this was something that wasn't going to create a ton of work. And I'm hoping that we come back with a report soon and we can start implementing it if council does agree. Thanks.
Councillor Gardner, second time.
I think this is a wonderful idea. Again, well, no, I think this would be worth the cost unless it's astronomical to just make it easier for residents to follow what we do and find information. So I look forward to this coming back. Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to this discussion again when the report comes back. Call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Councillor Gilliland, 15.3. Did you want to move this one? Seconder. Councillor Thompson. Go ahead, Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. It may seem obvious, but I know myself as a councillor, I have a hard time finding links to various different council meetings that are going on. And, there are people as well that don't know where the active live link is either. And other municipalities, and I did a little bit of research, they do have this information conveniently located. And I know for a resident who's not a councillor, it must be even more difficult. And so this is kind of what kind of spawned me to want to do this. And, it's just a small little design choice that can quietly become a barrier to public access. But by putting this here, it actually will improve it quite a bit. And I'm really hopeful that this is something that we can do in a very quick and fashion. I looked at other municipalities as well, Guelph, Vaughan, Burlington, and so forth. So I know it's doable. They seem to be on the same system as us. And essentially, I'm just trying to make this easy for the public as well. Essentially, where your meeting pages are and your agenda, that's where your link would be to the meeting for the YouTube channel after the fact. And then essentially your live link would be on your currently live streaming, easy to click. And then anything that's archived is where you'd find your minutes and your PDF and everything else, easy to find. Other than that, right now, I'm going to say from my own experience, if I don't put in, March 10th, 2026 Aurora Town Council meeting, I won't find it. So I really think this is going to be a really great addition to making it easier for the public. Thanks.
Councillor Gardner.
Actually, I was speaking, the last time I spoke, I was speaking to this motion. So I think it's a great idea. Love to know how much it costs, anything that can be done to make our work more transparent to the residents and to help us. And I agree with, and I would like to ask Councillor Thompson if he could give me a lesson in how he finds his past files so quickly.
Oh.
He's really good at that. Thank you. There must be a secret. Okay. Okay,
Is that all?
I'm done.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this? All the vote, all those in favor? Opposed, that carries. 15-5. Councillor Gallo, it's yours. You want to move it? Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Gardner, go ahead, Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. I'm bringing forward this motion to request a clear financial report related to the Aurora Economic Development Board Corporation, or AEDC. The AEDC plays an advisory role in supporting economic development initiatives in our community. Its board makes recommendations regarding activities and initiatives intended to support business attraction, investment, and economic growth in Aurora. However, the financial structure around these initiatives is somewhat unique. The AEDC itself does not approve expenditures, nor does it maintain standalone financial statements. Instead, funding these initiatives through the town of Aurora's Economic Development Division and is administered through the town's financial system and budgets. Because of that structure, there is currently no single consolidated report that shows council or the public the full financial picture of these initiatives associated with the AEDC. This motion is simply about transparency and good governance. As members of council, we all have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure there is clear oversight of how public funds are being used, providing a detailed report outlining the total budget allocated, the expenditures and external funding, and a comparison between approved budgets and actual spending will give council and the community a better understanding of how these economic development initiatives are being funded and implemented. The motion also asks that this reporting occur annually going forward so that council and residents have consistent transparency year after year. This is not about questioning the value of economic development initiatives. It is about ensuring that as stewards of the public funds, we maintain clear and accessible reporting for the community we serve.
Councillor Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very appreciative that Councillor Gallo has put this motion forward. And I would like to also thank Rebecca Beaton, the only resident who ever attended our budget meetings, for pointing out the lack of transparency here.
Any other comments or questions? All the vote, all those in favor? Opposed, that carries. 15.6. Someone want to move this? Councillor Gardner, you pulled it. Seconder? Councillor Ken, thank you. Councillor Gardner, go ahead.
To you, Mr. Mayor. Why did you choose these properties in particular?
Thank you, Councillor. They were finished with, and I just felt that we should provide the documentation and whatever can be provided to the public out of closed session should be provided at all times. I actually have a motion coming next month to create a policy to ensure that these things get done with, and we don't need these motions to come anymore individually, and everything, once able to, will be released. So I put these three. By all means, if you have others that you want in there, you can make an amendment and add them. The more the merrier.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a great start, and I believe it is somewhere in our procedural bylaw that once this information is no longer confidential, that it can be disclosed to the public. So I'd like to see that it's just automatically done.
And you'll see that next month when I bring that forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Weiss?
Same kind of questions about which ones. We have numbers such as 65 St. John's, et cetera, that are, and as long as you're happy that it's going to come back. My question is really on the order of these, because 1 and 2 really dependent on 3 and 4. If we have a report that comes back to us first, and the report says what information can be received and remain confidential and all the rest of it, and we can approve that, then it really gets to the point that council has approved what's being done first, and then we can identify what it's being assigned to. So I'm just talking about, wouldn't it be better to have the report first and then have the report reflected in various of the properties that are there? I agree with the intent of this. I'm just wondering about the order 3 and 4. I need the report. And if it all comes back at the same time and you use Henderson and the others as an example of it, I'm fine with that too.
It's the same motion that we did the last one that we put forward and we approved, and the closed session material was released after that motion passed. So it's the same motion, same wording, everything's exactly the same.
I'm fine with it now.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Just a comment, I believe Hillary House has 2 L's.
Hey, it does. You're correct. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Thompson. We will wordsmith that for you, okay? It's getting late. All right. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 15.7, Councillor Gallo, is sure you want to move your motion? Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gardner, go ahead, Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. I'm bringing forward this motion to request that all non-confidential documentation related to Victoria Hall refurbishment budget increase be made publicly available. The purpose of this motion is straightforward: transparency. Council recently approved an increase to the Victoria Hall refurbishment budget from 500,000 to approximately 2.18 million. That represents a significant change in the financial scope of this project, and understandably has generated a great deal of public interest and discussion. Residents want to understand how and why this increase occurred. They want to see the information that informed council's decision, including the engineering findings, design work, cost estimates that led to the revised budget. That is a reasonable expectation when millions of taxpayer dollars are involved. The motion before you simply directs staff to comply and release all non-confidential documentation related to that increase. This includes engineering and structural reports, architectural design consultant reports, the Class D cost estimate dated December 1st, 2025, project scope documents, and any other technical or supporting documentation relied upon in preparing the report recommending the budget increase. Importantly, this motion fully acknowledges that some information may need to be protected. Procurement integrity, legal considerations, or third-party confidentiality obligations must always be respected. That is why the motion clearly allows for appropriate redactions where required under legislation or procurement rules. But where information can be shared, it should be shared. Transparency strengthens public confidence in municipal decision-making. When residents can see the information that informed council's decision, it allows them to better understand the challenges associated with restoring an aging historic building and the factors that contributed to the increased costs. This motion is not about re-litigating the decision council has already made. That decision has been taken. This motion is about ensuring that residents have access to the information that led to that decision. We often speak about accountability and openness in municipal government. One of the most meaningful ways to demonstrate those values is by making information available to the public whenever possible. Providing residents with the engineering reports, cost estimates, and supporting documentations will allow them to review the facts for themselves and better understand the complexities involved in this project. The motion also requests that staff report back within 30 days confirming what documents have been released and identifying any materials that could not be disclosed, along with the legislative basis for those limitations. This ensures transparency not only in what is released, but also in what cannot be released and why. At the end of the day, this is about public trust. When major capital decisions are made, residents deserve to see the information behind those decisions wherever possible. This motion provides a clear and reasonable path to do exactly that. I encourage members of council to support it.
Any other comments, questions? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 15.8. Councillor Gallo, do you want to move this one? Okay, seconder. Councillor Thompson, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. Before introducing this motion, I want to briefly acknowledge that the last council meeting, I misunderstood some of the actions that could be taken regarding this matter. After reviewing the report again and communicating further with the residents, I want to ensure that the discussion moves forward in a constructive way with a clear path for potential improvements. I'm bringing forward this motion in response to ongoing concerns raised by residents on Lime Ridge Street regarding speeding, safety, and visibility along the roadway. As council is aware, staff recently completed a traffic calming assessment for Lime Ridge Street. While the technical warrants under the current policy were not fully met, the review and the feedback from residents and the Active Transportation and Traffic Safety Advisory Committee highlighted several practical steps that can still be taken to improve the safety along this corridor. This motion proposes a balanced and targeted approach. First, it asks staff to install one set of speed cushions along the west leg of Lime Ridge Street. Speed cushions are a well-established traffic calming measure that help moderate vehicle speed while still allowing emergency vehicles to pass efficiently. Second, motion directs staff to bring forward the necessary bylaw amendment to reduce the speed limit to 30 kilometers per hour. Lower residential speeds limits are increasingly common across municipalities and can contribute to safer neighborhood streets. Third, it asks staff to deploy flashing speed display boards either on a rotational or more permanent basis, to help reinforce driver awareness of their speed. Finally, the motion directs staff to address vegetation and foliage obstructions near 55 Lime Ridge, where sight lines around the bed may currently be limited. Together, these measures represent practical steps that respond directly to residents concerned while improving safety for everyone who uses that street. I look forward to the discussion and hope council will support these reasonable improvements.
Councillor Garner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess through you to Councillor Gallo. So we had lengthy discussion too at our Traffic Safety Advisory Committee meeting. And I certainly agree with the vegetation. It creates a hazard. I know that one person came to our meeting and she suggested these things. Is this agreed upon generally by the residents on the street?
Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. It wasn't her who had suggested. It was one of the residents that came. It wasn't her who had suggested them. It was staff looking at it and suggesting these are the only things that we can do. There were other things that they wanted. They simply couldn't be done on the street. And these ones are, in speaking to the residents that I've been in contact with, are acceptable to them.
Councillor.
Thank you for working so hard on this, Councillor Gallo. I do have one more question about the speed cushion. Is that going to be put in a place that doesn't interfere with anybody's driveway?
Councillor Gallo.
Yes, it is. It will. They will be losing one parking space, but I made sure before doing this that they were well aware of it and they did not have an issue with it.
Councillor.
You're not going to come back to council and ask that it be removed. Okay, thanks very much.
Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. I had similar questions. From what I understand, staff were not in favor of recommending any of these recommendations that are here today. And I do recall, as well as the Traffic Advisory Committee also felt that it just wouldn't be the best option just based on what was being presented. I was not really in favor in some of the measures that were on Tamarack. With some of it a yes, some of it no. I could say the same thing for some stop signs. I don't know if all the residents are in favor of the speed hump. I don't want to have someone coming to the podium and saying, you know, I didn't know about it. And that happened on Tamarack. We did have a delegate. I do think that we are opening up a bit of a can of worms when everything on the report was glaringly negative in even coming close to meeting any of the criteria that is in our current bylaw or whatever you call it, the whatever the guidelines are. And I know that we have, you know, made those changes on maybe with the amount of cars that go by. If it didn't meet 250, but it was, you know, 225, and we felt that we wanted to make that change, we would do it. But I felt that there was really stark contrast as to even meeting it. And I do think this does set a bit of a dangerous precedence. And we're going to have more people coming and asking for 30 kilometers and flashing signs and all sorts of stuff. And for me, this is just, I'm not in favor of this, just based on historically the information that was presented to me and moving forward, what this could actually do. I'm sorry.
Any other comments, questions? I'm glad this is back in front of us. I would have voted in favor the other week, and I'll be in favor this week. Call a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 16.1. Councillor Garner, you pulled this. Do you want to move your regional highlights? Do you want to move them? Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Gillen. I know I'm doing one at a time because they're different reports. Yeah. Okay. The floor is yours.
I'm fine with it.
You have no questions.
Well, to tell you the truth, this was such a full agenda.
Yeah.
I didn't read them. So if I
This
have
was a
any
full agenda
questions,
and you
I'll
didn't
ask
read
next
them.
week. But
Okay.
everything I pulled, everybody seemed to have questions on.
Anyone else have questions? No? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. 16.2. Councillor Gardner, you pulled this one too. Can you move this one?
I haven't had a chance to read it, but usually when I pull something, people ask questions. So here we go.
Yep. Seconder. Councillor Thompson, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. New business. We can move quick. Councillor Weiss.
A couple of things. The resident, Mr. Hartman, brought forward a couple of questions about and other things he suggested. And I know that one of the other things was the issue around Metrolinks. And last December, you said you'd have something for us in January with respect to the grade separation. And I'm very keen on, and our residents are, about what's happening with the train tracks. And we've had a difficult time getting a construction liaison committee together, but I think we're getting close to that. But if you have any updates on that, I think the residents would be happy to hear them.
At this point, I don't. I mean, dealing with Metrolinks is almost as bad as dealing with circular materials, but we are, I'm waiting to hear back from the minister on that. But like I said, I know that the minister is supportive of the grade separation as well as the premier. I think it's, as I said many times, it's going to come down to funding, but they're doing the traffic studies. They're doing everything right now to look at that section and come back and report to us and let us know where we end up. But I'm hoping I have something at some point. As soon as I do, Councillor, I'm getting it to all of you.
Well, if I get something out of the construction liaison committee meeting, I'll be sure to bring it back too, so the residents understand. The other thing that came forward, and it's probably too late now because of the weather, but a resident was asking about the fire hydrant markers because a lot of them are getting snowed in, and over on Hollingshead, I think there was a problem where the Central York Fire had difficulty finding them. And I said, well, I think they know exactly where they are. It's a part of their business to do that. but it was really part of the digging out of them and locating them. So do you have some advice, or do we know how these markers are, because I see them some places, but not everywhere. But can you give us an idea through Ms. Steenkamp or someone? That may have been the thing I was going to ask you about in private, but I thought I'd bring it out in public. So can you tell us a little bit about how those markers are assigned and who assigns them and who pays for them?
Steenkamp?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So that's administered through us and fire. We determine which ones are below grade, in ditches, things, and where historically they may be covered up due to snow. And in those places, then we put one of those markers on.
Somewhat complaint driven then, if you find there's a circular area where the snow hills up and the rest of it, you'll either fix that or you'll do something about the marker?
Steenkamp?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly, yes. that
Okay,
is-
thank you. That helps me. No more.
Councillor Gallo, any business? Actually, one sec. I need a motion to extend. Councillor Thompson. Councillor Gardner, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Go ahead, Councillor Gallo.
Thank you. Just real quick, through Mr. Mayor to Ms. Steenkamp. Sorry, I didn't preface this earlier, but I know you know the answer. There are several inquiries about a tree in Fleury Park, and I was just hoping that maybe you could set the record straight. Thank you.
Steenkamp?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, certainly this is with regards to a very old willow tree. It had had significant damage in a storm a number of years ago. Some of the main structural limbs had been removed, and as a result, there was a large cavity. So when we were doing the design for the retrofit in Fleury Park, we had it assessed for structural integrity and to see whether it could be retained. It was found that it was beyond, and due to the species of the tree, willows are very weak-wooded, and so it was determined that it could potentially be a public safety hazard in the future. So we decided to remove it proactively, and there's a very robust replanting plan within the park as part of the reconstruction.
Councillor?
That's great. Thank you.
Councillor Gardner, any business?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not in favor of putting any pins or nails or thumbtacks into tree trunks. But in the case like that, could we have put a sign that the residents could have read, just that, what was happening with that tree and why? Because there was quite a bit of uproar, if you like, about it. Anyway, I'm just leaving that out there. And to you, Mr. Mayor, I would also like to know if Metrolinx is still going to do its second track.
Second track is currently under construction. That's what all the work is that's being done there.
Long overdue.
Mhm.
We're waiting for that second track behind our co-op. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson? Go ahead.
Some of you may have seen the conference today, with respect to the Conservation Authority consolidation announcement that happened. So just briefly, as we know, there are currently 36 conservation authorities. They will be consolidated into 9 now. Previously, it was supposed to be 7, but due to feedback, they made some minor changes. Lake Simcoe will now be referred to as part of the Lake Huron Regional Conservation Authority. There's still more details to be worked out in terms of board representation, but they are targeting February 1st, 2027 as the date for the new conservation authorities. More details to follow. I'll do my best to keep council informed.
Thank you, Councillor. Let's go. No. Councillor Kim, new business? No. PSAs? Councillor Kim? PSAs? Councillor Gardner, PSA? Councillor Gardner? Councillor Reese? Yeah, go ahead. I got a whole bunch I got to read too, so go ahead.
Capes for Kids are here, so that's what those are all about. This Capes for Kids Week is from 6th to the 10th.
Throw it like this.
So there they are. Anyone who wants to donate, they help thousands of kids with disabilities, and there's over 60 of them here in this community. I want to thank Allison Hughes, who's been my mentor on this and the one who drives this more than I do. If you want to donate, you can give me a call. You can go to my link that's on the donation page, and it's in your wallet and it's in your heart. I'd like to have you donate to it. The 62nd edition of the art show is calling for artists to register for this year's show. That's going to be on, I think the registration is April 6th, the deadline, but the show is on May 2nd and the 3rd. So if you're an artist and you're interested in register, please go to the town's website. And I also want to congratulate Music Aurora and the Aurora Cultural Center for the outstanding 2026 rendition of the Aurora Winter Blues Festival. By all accounts, it was a complete success, and they're committed to making Aurora blues tourist destination. So special thanks to Suzanne at the ACC and Greg Smith from Music Aurora for all the work that they did on this. So that's all I have.
Yep. I just got a few, so bear with me. Wristbands are on sale for our annual Easter Palooza event. Kids can explore spring-themed interactive activities indoors and outdoors, and even have a photo taken, yes, with the Easter Bunny. Wristbands are $5 per person and are available for purchase at select town facilities, and everyone can get more details at aurora.ca/Easter. Nominations are open for our annual Community Recognition Awards, an event that celebrates the incredible contributions residents and businesses make to our community. So if you know an individual, group, or business in town who is going above and beyond to help strengthen Aurora, please nominate them today at aurora.ca/CRA. March break is almost here, and we want to wish students and many parents an awesome week off. If you are planning a staycation, you'll want to check out the great day camps, drop-in programs, and other activities that the town has going on. And you can find out about them all at aurora.ca and get all those details. And then there's a friendly reminder that the AFLC pool will be closed from March 16th to the 29th for annual maintenance. But the SARC pool will still be open and ready for everyone to enjoy. And for that swim schedule at the SARC, you can visit aurora.ca/aquatics. The Aurora Museum and Archives and the Aurora Historical Society are presenting a special speaker series event, Toronto's Lost Shipwreck, on March 19th at 7 p.m. at Aurora Town Square. The guest speaker and Aurora resident, Hyacinth Chalk, explores the recent discovery of a 200-year-old schooner in Lake Ontario, and highlights how modern technology is transforming our understanding of maritime history. The residents can purchase tickets at auroratownsquare.ca/what's on. And then one that's important for the south end of Aurora, we have our upcoming open house on Monday, March 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. and it's here at the town hall. We're working on a plan that will guide how the Yonge Street South area between Industrial Parkway South and Bloomington could grow and change, things like building heights, the look and feel of new developments, and how the area could evolve over time. And residents' input will help shape the study and updates to the town's official plan. So this is a great chance to have your say in how our community develops, and you can learn more about that one at aurora.ca public notices. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gardner, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.